Hello and welcome to Slovenia for the International Canoe Federation's 5th Slalom World Cup of the 2016 season. And it's finals. It's the World Cup final. Double points, everyone. So there's a lot of athletes who can still make themselves the top athlete of the year. Today we're going to be covering 3 of the classes. We're going to start off with the semi-finals of the C1 Men, followed directly with the semi-finals of the C1 Women, and then go on to the K1 Men's semi-final. Central European time now, it's 9 in the morning. We are going to start the men's C1 final in 3.5 hours time. So that's 12:33. As you can see, the course is a runoff of a dam. It's been here for many years. First competition was in 1939. We'll get into it in a bit more detail in a moment. As ever, I'm Matthew Layton. My 2 guests, we're having just specialists today. So I have my 2 canoe specialists who have been here a few times before now. Thank you for coming. Liam Smedley and Spencer Pomeroy from Canada. Hello.
Hello. Good morning.
Only 20 gates. And they've changed a little bit since yesterday. How do you see the course, boys?
They've changed a number of gates. I think that they've tried to make it a little bit trickier coming down the starting drop, which is always good for excitement. And then the middle section is a little bit tougher, just kind of tighter lines than yesterday.
We're seeing a classic couple moves that are just very constant in Tacen, and they're tricky, so it'll be interesting to see how everyone plays those classic moves.
Well, they've had 3 World Championships here. The last one was in 2010. The last World Cup we had here was 2 years ago, so I guess you've been watching the video to find out what stays the same and what changes. As you see coming through on your screens, these are the semi-finalists, so we're going to see the fastest 30 in reverse order of their Heat 1 or Heat 2 times. A lot of the big names are here, as we see. Mati Benes as normal now. He heads their fastest qualifications. And first to go is 20-year-old Liam Jagu, representing Ireland, lives in France. And last week he just missed out on the final.
Yeah, we were sharing an athlete tent with the Irish and Liam Jagu, and I know that he was finding the course to be really fun, and I think he's happy to make that last spot in the semi-final.
Fun is definitely a word that's used to describe Tacen, especially this part right here coming off the top. Start with a little flat water sprint and then a nice big drop to the first gate.
But Raphael Smolen said there's about 40 centimeters the line, so you don't tip up. It's not that wide, but it's doable coming into the first down.
Yeah, there's a couple options, but it's if you want to do it well, there's only a very limited space that you can put the boat.
Liam looks like he's had just a little bit of trouble on that first drop, but he actually brought it together, and he's running really smoothly right now, running the boat nicely.
If you're watching yesterday, 6, 7, 8 gates have been quite significantly changed. There's a lot of offsets from 6 to 13, I believe. If you come down 9 to 13, exactly the same as yesterday.
Really nicely through there. That's a tough section of the course. One of the things you'll notice with Tacen is that he starts with a 1 big drop, and then after that the water starts getting really shifty. It's moving from side to side, and the course designers have done a good job of making you either use that to your advantage or fight it.
And as you can see from the rocks, the tide level, the water level is changing rapidly.
Yeah, lots of surges and fluctuations, so you can get a nice surge and the current will really push the boat where you want it to go, or you can get a bad one and you're fighting, almost paddling uphill. Oh, a little bit too tight in the downstream, but he's managed to save it.
Coming under the bridge, right next to our commentary position now. 14 to 17 have been changed. 17 to 18, it gives you a wider and slower angle apparently going into the up 18.
Interesting little section of the course here. This was actually just completed this past week. The bottom of the course used to empty straight out into the river, and now they've tried to change it and have it a little bit longer part of the course with some success, but definitely a new experience for all the paddlers.
This is what we want. Well, first to go, and well, you're showing a 10.
He doesn't look too happy about that, but if you look at the times from yesterday, it could be. You're never too sure here.
But he went. Where do you see the frustration then?
I think just it's one of those courses where if you're offline at all, you're really punished. And I think he felt like he was fighting on the way down, and not too pleased with that would be my guess.
Mati Manic, not too far away from here, was a great hope a couple of years ago. Giant of a man, and seems to know how to push his canoe around.
Not the lone representative of Croatia. We've seen a couple boats from there, so a developing country in the slalom scene, but certainly a leader within the sport.
Really smooth through gate 4. That was really nice.
we'll see really long strokes from the larger paddlers. It's to use their reach, really drive the boat. They're going to try and use that to their advantage, and it helps them have a smooth style compared to some of the shorter competitors who will keep a higher stroke rate to keep the boat accelerating. Looking smooth and clean so far. I think that he's coming together nicely through here.
So this is the first time the athletes, they saw it briefly a couple of days ago, then lots of them were looking at it about 7 o'clock yesterday evening. But it is very much the first time they're doing 7 of these combinations.
Yeah, exactly. So the athletes got a chance to take a look at the course and watch the demo boats, but this is their first time going down this gate setup, so it's always comes down to the preparation and who can execute their mental plan the best.
We've got a brand new upstream here with that new section that Spencer described earlier, and so we're going to see some paddlers doing it really well, and others may be lacking the experience of practicing it. And it looks like this has gone fairly well.
When we saw some of the forerunners, some of the 15, 16-year-olds going down yesterday, they're actually missing that gate completely.
Yeah, in gate 20, it's a double wide gate, so you would think that it would be quite easy. And yesterday it was in the same place, and I was close to both poles, one on one run and the other on the next. So just because it's wide doesn't make it easy.
So it's Mikel Turbe from Spain. Let's see how he goes.
Spain putting forth a couple of their junior and under 23 athletes on this race, I know. Looking to capitalize on that opportunity and gain some important international experience. Looks like smooth, like gate 1, 2.
Well, 2 and 3 same as yesterday, so when they did the heats, so they're very familiar. Falls now and up, as you can see.
Yeah, he did a nice job coming across. It's a tricky move. There's kind of 2 options between 3 and 4. You can either push over to the right a little more and try and land right in that hydraulic in the hole and have it carry you across, or you can try and go right behind it. And he did a nice job staying on the top and on the back of it.
Well, he's 3 seconds off the pace.
We're seeing our first right-handed C1 paddler come down now, so we're seeing a spin just on gate 8 and now direct on gate 9. So we're going to see different combinations there based on the left and right-handed paddlers.
Picked up a touch in gate 10. It's a tricky spot. There's a little wave right in front of the gate, so you have to be very gentle with the bow, and it looks like it just kind of caught it and lifted it up too high for him.
Fairways out of touch on the second split there, so gonna have to keep it smooth and clean on this bottom half of the course and maybe push it a little for Mikel.
Well, one of the few athletes competing this weekend who was born in the year 2000.
Wow.
Say 16 years old.
Solid semi-final performance for him then.
Yeah, well, that's a tough spot. It's a pretty shallow eddy there, so it looks like he's just clipped his paddle off the bottom. Sometimes when you do that, you can stumble over it, as we see there.
Now it comes to first semi-final, and little big experience here, looking at his paddle.
Yeah, I think that's a result of that last upright. Didn't look like he was overly pleased, but at the same time, I think he's a young paddler, and there's lots of hope for his future. I think that was a pretty solid run on a tough course.
Felipe Borges from Brazil, been busy for the last month, so.
The victorious paddler in the infamous parallel slalom. And here in Tacen, they're hosting a parallel slalom race in the downtown core of Ljubljana and on a canal, so it's 2 slalom courses that are a mirror of each other, and Felipe was the fastest man there, so we'll have to see how he fares on the whitewater course.
Well, the first 40 meters are flat here, aren't they? So he should be good sprinting. So is it an exhausting course, or is it? It's not as long as some, is it?
It's not as long, but it's certainly exhausting. Like I said before, you're really going back and forth, and here's one of the sections you can really see you're fighting the water, almost paddling upstream to get to the down gate again in the eddy. So there's lots of spots where, even though the gates are tight together, you're working quite hard to get where you need to be. So
it's 275 meters, but you're actually doing about 350.
I would say.
And then 20 gates altogether, and actually here's the bridge. 6 gates after the bridge, so it really is a major segment of the course.
Yeah, and that's kind of the nice reason they had the new addition to the bottom. Before, it would dump you out to the river, and you would still have a few gates at the bottom, but not quite the same as this stretch of whitewater here. Very, very dynamic.
Well, they're putting up the sponsorship boards yesterday, so they're expecting some interesting action.
really unfortunate touch there in gate 16. He's coming together quite a fast run. Let's see what the time is, but
He was up on the last split, wasn't he? Time to go for is 1:10. He's very close there. Yes.
Just done it.
So 4 competitors gone so far. Olympic Bay, Vidislav Gobash from the Czech Republic. So they've had a lot of fun last weekend with some very, very good results from the Czechs.
yeah, complete domination, especially in the kayak category in the Prague World Cup. So see some of them looking to repeat that performance in this last World Cup. And I think he may have gone left of that gate.
I think he blew by that. So coming down the drop, there's almost 2 waves before the bottom. And both of them kind of shift you to the left. See, the goal is to be driving from the middle of the river to the right shore. And I think he got caught by the second one and just pushed offline. And I'm not sure if he made it through gate 1, although we haven't seen anything up on the screen. So
You just keep smiling and go as fast as you can and hope they miss it.
exactly.
Well,
Could
came
just be an
9th
angle
last
thing.
week in Prague.
Such a fast section that it's really hard to tell sometimes.
And this afternoon, if you have some time, from 4 European time until 5:30, we do have the slalom cross, where the daredevils are actually going from off the top of the bridge.
Looking like, regardless of gate 1, keeping his focus and paddling smooth, actually.
Well, you see the penalties normally come on the screen. If it doesn't come on the screen, I normally hear from my producer if there's something amiss. But look at there you go, first away. 50-second penalty.
I was kind of hoping that it was just a perception issue and maybe he didn't manage to get right through it, but no, I think.
So if you're just tuning in, your family and friends, and you're not completely sure what's going on, the idea obviously to get from top to bottom. Green and white go down, red and white go up. If you miss a gate, it's an automatically 50-second penalty, which puts you out of the game essentially. And if you strike a gate, it's a 2-second penalty. But look, very shallow there, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It's that's one of the things they spent some time this week kind of tinkering and trying to get it right, and it's definitely a paddleable section, but it's a tough spot to put in a stroke, so it makes it really important having a good exit from gate 17, the up left, coming to the up right, because you're not going to be able to get a lot coming across.
One to put behind him there. The Tacen's actually quite unique, isn't it, with this huge start?
Very unique course. It's not like many else out there. So certainly look for a good showing from the local Slovenian paddlers because they've got lots of time training on this course.
Martin Thomas from France, who's put some good results together internally. What I was noticing yesterday with the Slovenians is they were spending an awful lot of time on the bridge. Still, although they must have memorized it thousands of times, they were still spending a lot of time. Andy Vercic was spending 20 minutes just studying the water.
Yeah, it goes back to what you were saying before about the water really surging. So, I mean, you can do something 1,000 times on this course and you never really know what's going to happen the next time with the water. So it's important to really have a good idea of what's happening. And that way, as you're coming down, you can adjust your line accordingly.
Well, the 26-year-old Martin Thomas made the final last week, came 10th.
Really strong style. We're seeing smooth run coming together. See the second split, see if he's still in touch. There we go, just 0.37 off. So, as we said, lots of gates on the bottom to pick up time. It's actually a pour over a large rock on the left there. So what we've just seen now is a small trip on his paddle blade coming into the up left, and we saw not quite as smooth as his style usually is. So you have to be careful coming into where you place that first stroke in the upstream. It takes some precision.
Moves into provisional 4th place. So Brazil leading with Felipe Borges with 1:10. So far 6 athletes got, and we have a local, Blaise Koff.
Yeah, so a local Slovenian paddler with lots of experience on this course. In front of a loud hometown crowd. He's done a good job getting up on top of the pillow close to the right wall there. Really nicely done through gate 1 and 2.
I guess there'll be a lot of people out there watching this.
Yeah, I think we can hear the noise picking up now for the local. Really well done through this top section. see that knowledge coming through.
We're lucky here that Andy Birch doesn't come down for a while because his family and friends sit right in front of us. Yet to experience that in the commentary box.
Really strong paddler. Yesterday we saw him Glasgow in the heats, pushing all the way through the bottom and paddling hard the whole way. So they're 1.53 up on the split. And I think we're going to see a strong bottom from that fitness.
Yeah, he's looking really smooth on this course. I think that just comes down to spending a lot of time on it because it is so tricky, and he has a good feel for the water here.
Well, yesterday we had 500 school kids in, and they had a cracking time.
Certainly
good, good noise today as well.
It was hard to hear the person next to you when Peter Kasser came down.
Look at that, a second 8-6 off ahead right now, so he's having a great run so far. Might have been a little bit tight there on gate 15. He had to wait for the pole, but I don't think that'll hurt him too much.
Crucially clear with just 4 gates to go.
Ooh.
Dropped a bit low.
Yeah, his bow got caught by that pour over Liam was just talking about. Ended up getting dragged down the eddy line.
So this is the first area where local knowledge doesn't come into play.
Exactly, and maybe we've seen that first stumble because of it.
Well, this is the first top run of the day. And moves into first place and shows his, I guess it's relief when your expectations must be high.
Certainly, and I think it's always nervous when you have a little error like he did coming into 17. So when you do something like that and still finish with a good time, it's always nice.
First of 3 Brits into the semi-final. It's Samuel Ibbotson. David Florence not competing today. Hello, David, if you're watching.
I usually start right next to Sam in the World Cups, and I'm bib 30, he's bib 29, so we're chatting before the run and just after, and I know he was quite stoked to be in the semi-final, and he's looking to push it today. Just a bit of a rough boil there at the very first hole.
Yeah, you don't see the actual hole from the angle of the camera, but it's quite a big hydraulic that they're coming down. The goal is just to bounce off the right side of it, but it looks like he went a little bit too much in the middle, and there's a lot of power in that water.
And that's reflected in the time, which is a good, how many seconds back? Well, 9 seconds back there. Surprising.
He was telling me yesterday that through the bottom of the course on his second heats run, he just sort of found the rhythm of the water and didn't have to push it too hard, but just follow the water, and Tacen will bring you down a lot easier. So we'll have to see if he can find that again today, but a lot of time to catch up now.
Yeah, three spins. I don't know that all of them were his plan A, but not necessarily the fastest way to navigate that stretch of the course.
Coming under the bridge.
This is the point in the course where, personally, my arms start burning. You try and pull, but there's not always as much as you would like.
That's your fault for having 6 years out of the sport.
I suppose so. I'll have to be doing some hard training over the off season. Maybe I'll make it to gate 19 before that happens.
Well, a few seconds, clean, crucially. But as you mentioned, he had a bit of a wobble at the beginning. So from your first analysis, there's now been eight athletes down. I guess the first thing you do is you don't mess up the start. And after that, where's time made and lost?
That's a tough question so far. I think we've seen, the start's definitely a crucial point in the course. He's done that very well right there. But
sorry, Florian Buer, who's a real huge hope for Germany.
Yeah, and he's off to a great start with this run.
Current under-23 world champion. Really strong performance in Krakow. And
I think going back to your question, Matt, I'd have to say that the bottom stretch of the course from the bridge to down to the finish might be a crucial area. We've seen some boats low in both of those upstreams, and it's a new stretch of water. A lot of the athletes don't have much experience on it, so I think that might be one of the areas where time can be gained or lost.
And that will, as no one has experience of it, will it be down to your I suppose, boat intelligence or just a bit of luck how the water flows?
I think some of it's going to be your consistency in style as a paddler, like people who we see never changing the style of their stroke and always pushing forward strong, like Michal Mardikan, Matej Benush. I think we're going to see them really shine at that bottom part of the course.
2 seconds of penalty we saw on 11. Let's see where he's going to be on the split.
Well done through the up left. To see here. High in the upright.
High in the upright, he did get caught a little bit behind that inside pole.
Well, as it's so shallow here, you can punt off the bottom whenever you like, really.
He certainly can. Oh. He moves into first.
Very tight racing right now. I think this is giving us a good gauge for that first paddler. Liam Jagu came down with a 110. We weren't sure where that would place, but sitting in fourth at the moment with 9 boats down. I think that it won't go too much faster. But
Well, compatriot Franz Anton, who has some really strong results in the last 6-7 years now for Germany.
Nice use of the curl there, coming from 1 to 2. You could really see he kind of hit that wall of water and it shifted the boat right across and set him up really nice for the upstream. Oh.
As this Franz spent so much time on the bank photographing people, that he actually must really understand where the water's going.
Certainly did. I think that was a good tactic. He was involved with the catch the water bottle competition they had going on Thursday, and I think it was a good way for him to watch people test out new lines on the drop, as well as maybe...
Wait, 2 seconds off, 2.72 seconds off at the moment, so really punting off the side again.
there we see 2 spins, maybe not plan A for Franz Anton, but pulling strong. We'll have to see the bottom section to see what this pans out.
And with rainfall, does the water level here change much? Or as it's a dam, I suppose they can keep the level.
Yeah, the river definitely does fluctuate, so I think it won't change too much over the top because they can control how much water is coming down the course, but it will certainly change the bottom as the river rises. The drop going into the actual river at the bottom of this course changes. So we have yet to see what will happen when that occurs with this new stretch added in.
Well, that's probably the quickest through 18. Puts himself in the fast water. Just another 2 quite tricky gates because you're going so fast at that stage. Just force yourself over the edge. We'll come seconds back though. Well, only 10 make it through into the final. That's going to be really difficult. Florian Brewer so far after 10 athletes is leading 1-1-0. Adam Burgess, last year's under-23 world champion, he said in his first heat, we were filming him, he said, please don't film anybody. It was a complete disaster, all of it, but he still went through. Let's see how he can do today. Saw him on the water now, so he goes just warming up.
Yeah, he's had quite a good season. And like you said, his first run yesterday was not, I don't think exactly what he was hoping for, but he still managed to make it through, and I think he'll be looking for a strong showing here in the last race of the season.
Ranked 4th in the overall World Cup standings, so he's definitely poised to
double points will go a long way for him, won't they?
Yeah, absolutely.
His vision, we were talking to him yesterday, his vision, Ryan Wesley and I guess Dave Florence and a couple of other Brits is already on 2020. Well, look at that, 8/10 of a second up.
Looking really strong and online here. Very tight on that last gate, but
looks like he managed to duck the pole.
Yeah.
Oh, maybe not. Picked up the touch on gate 10.
We'll have to see with the judges. They have all the facilities available.
Very classic move, that down to up right here. It's hard to navigate the eddy in the middle, but not too much.
Sorry, the button. His 2 second penalty's come off. So we saw him a second up.
So there's multiple gate judges for little sections of the course. So sometimes it happens that one of the judges will see a touch and maybe the other 2 don't, and it comes down to a little discussion and they'll decide. There's always video review, but sometimes you get bad luck and other times you have good luck, and it looks
well,
like
this is a good round. Look at this. Hey, new sign. I'll have to ask him about that. Absolutely delighted. Put it all together.
I think that may be a clean sign.
The crazy horse always comes in, but it's well done. He's absolutely delighted. And who's next to go? It's Thomas Rack from the Czech Republic.
And I think seeing that from the performance from Adam Burgess with being quite a competitive top paddler, I think we definitely have a good lock on what a nice quick time will be today. So I think we're seeing some pretty tight racing so far.
Well, so far, I don't know what's happened here because he's on my screen. They've put 2 second penalty back on again with Adam Burgess.
So that might be a case of the judges kind of looking at that again. So my guess would be that the Great Britain team will post an inquiry about that, and might go to video review to see what's actually happened on gate 10.
Could be absolutely crucial. The top 4 athletes so far within 0.4 of a second of each other. That's interesting.
1.42 down on that first split. Really hard to deal with that diagonal boil there. It's a different piece of whitewater. We don't really see a hole like that on any other slalom course, and sometimes it'll catch you off guard, just like now with Thomas.
Yeah, it seems as though he didn't quite get his bow in it, and that's certainly going to cost him. He was drawing the boat over, but wasn't running it. Not a lot of speed there, so that's definitely not according to plan.
Well, 27-year-old is 6th in the World Cup standings and still in touch. He's 130 points. Slavkovsky is 180, and there's 120 available today. It's double points if you win. Really falling off the pace.
Having some trouble tracking the boat today. We'd use the term tracking with the stern is following your bow, and your strokes are pushing straight through the boat. And basically, looks like you're smoothly cruising down the course, and he's struggling with that in the middle section. But they can bring it together in the bottom to cut down on that second split.
Nicely done in the upright there.
Really well done.
Yeah, I think when you have something happen in the middle of your run, like happened to him, it always kind of throws you off, and it's tough to stay focused and push through the bottom. So I think that might have affected the lower half of the course.
This is where we did all speed check. Paolo Ceccon from Italy next to go. Oh, that's a close call.
Yeah, this was certainly, he was just a little bit too far left. He did manage to get gate 1, but now he's gotten caught into the eddy on the right.
I think this just highlights how unforgiving that first drop can be. If you're not flying through it, then the boils will get you turned around, and really hard to come back from that. But
certainly adds to the excitement paddling here, though. There's always some nerves in the top gate waiting to start, just kind of hoping that you manage to get the first few gates all right and make it through the drop, and
hoping
is that
thinking about it.
and you've got that
on the split.
just about 14 seconds down, and it looks like it's not coming together today.
Well, 55 athletes started out yesterday morning. He's down to the top 30.
Well done there, coming across behind the rock. It's you're fighting kind of different directions of current when you come through that little section, and he managed to keep that boat really straight and on line into the upstream, which is not very easy to do.
Still a teenager, turns 20 in 3 days' time, so hopefully he can celebrate at the last World Cup of the season.
Real struggle if you're at the bottom of that eddy. You're trying to take those big full strokes to propel the boat up, and it's just not that deep, so you gotta put half the blade in. It's really hard.
Yeah, the key there, I think, is to have the correct angle coming into the upstream on the right. Point it almost a little bit downstream and in towards the wall, so you can get in nice and deep into the good water without having to paddle too much.
Next to go for Switzerland, Tomo Coquelin. One of the most enthusiastic commentators. He actually lives for it when his colleagues are going down.
Yeah, he's a very aggressive paddler as well, and you can see it there coming across the hole. He's certainly pulling hard from top to bottom.
Started the season when, medaling in Ivrea.
Yeah, really fast paddler. On any given day, he'll have the fastest time, sometimes a couple touches, but if he keeps it clean, I think that you can.
Well, look at that, 1.95 up at the split. He's certainly doing something right, choosing to spin.
Yeah, I think that'll be a popular option for lots of the right-handed paddlers.
Wow, really well done there. That direct. Tight on the gates, keeping the boat running.
Yeah, it was a nice upstream as well.
Really smooth through that boiling section and high into the upright.
Well, look at that, he's increasing the lead. One of the Kayaking P athletes who have the self-training group down in Poole, which is completely professionalised now. Means that you've got a good set of mates to cheer you on.
certainly. And you can see, as Liam was mentioning before, he's doing a great job of tracking that boat. He's the bow is staying ahead of the stern, carrying his speed through all the gates, which is very important.
Well, 2-second penalty given on gate number 12. Did you see that?
Yeah, actually, I think it may have been a small touch, but it's really similar to Adam Burgess. It's a tight offset section. You can see where he finishes.
Despite of the 2-second penalty, he's put down by far the fastest pure time, 1:07.
Yeah, very quick time. It was nice through that bottom section as well. I think one of the better ones that we've seen.
It's Mikael Martikan, 37 years old. Was on actually chatting yesterday, which is quite rare, which shows he's on a good form. And he has all the superlatives of the sport for many, many years. He medalled at 1996 Olympics.
Yeah, a lot of hardware for Michal Martikan. He's been a top paddler for many, many years.
And bad news for the other top athletes. I was talking to his coaches and said, is this like a farewell? I said, no, he wants to go to Turkey.
I think that some other paddlers, you might doubt the ability, but Michal Martikan has shown resilience year after year, being the 2014 World Cup winner, so I won't doubt his ability.
Just still a good time. It's not as 1.3 down, but we saw Tom McLaughlin so fast with his trademark red boat. He went a different colour. Was it 2 years ago? And he's gone back now.
Yeah, he went white. Now he's back to red. I think we're going to see his strength and smooth style come through at the bottom of this course, and there we go.
Just made up 2 seconds. He seems to tell the boat what to do.
Yeah, and it seems to listen much better than mine.
Well, 4 gates to go, and we saw he was over 1.5 seconds up at the last split.
As we expected, they're really strong, experienced paddlers with good style, moving well through those bottom gates.
Well, 2 to go and clear, and it's a wonderful time. 15 athletes still to go, but this certainly gives the rest something to think about. Well, they can give him a 2 on 18. Could be expensive. Provisionally moves into 2nd place.
Yeah, and 18 was I'd say the one gate on the course where he didn't have a spectacular line. I think, again, coming down to that shallow water, tough for left-handed paddlers to make the offside stroke and drive deep into the eddy, so he got a little hung up and close to the pole through the upstream.
We go Hedvig from Poland. Good line there.
Yeah, really nice. I think that might have been one of the best 1-2 combinations we've seen so far.
Through to 3-4. Starting out really nice from Hedwig.
Tacen's a course where if the water is working in your favor, you can certainly benefit a lot from it, and I think he's doing a great job. He's getting good surges here, and he's really on line. It's definitely working for him.
Really strong lines, tracking the boat, driving each stroke. Maybe a strong performance today.
Looking really smooth, but still quite fast. 2 seconds up on the split so far.
Small struggle through that small offset at the bottom. You can see the fatigue coming through with some of the athletes, but keeping it clean.
World rank 31 at the moment. Let's see if he can improve his ranking today.
There you go. I think that's one of the nicer moves we've seen by the lefty paddlers, but again, that shallow bottom giving him a bit of an issue with the paddle.
Another good time though. It's starting to come thick and fast now. And moves into 1st place.
It's a great run.
Well, as there's only 10 places available and still 14 athletes to go, and they're starting to be guys with good experience. It's the first Valdi.
Qualifying on the first run of heats on both the World Cup in Prague and here, so showing some consistency and strong performances from Raffaello.
Comes some good stock.
Yes.
I think he was just a little bit too far left coming down the drop. He made it through gate 1 safely, but wasn't the highest line into the upstream gate 2. It was recovered quite nicely.
Well, Michael Martican, someone's appealing because there's an asterisk next to his name. Let's hope it's positive sense. He was given a 2-second penalty on 18. So far he's in 3rd place. We'll keep you up form. Well, 2.45 back.
So coming actually together, not a bad run. 2.45 off puts him in 4th place. So if he can catch up some time and crack the top 3, I think that'd be a strong finish. We'll see.
Coming into the up just above the bridge.
This hasn't really caused any problems today.
No, I haven't seen any major problems, but I think it's a spot where it's easy to lose a little bit of your speed. And if you can do it well, it's going to help you, but if you can't, then it's going to make it a little bit tougher, because that next section in behind the hole is a lot of dead, slow water, so if you're not going quickly, you have to work much harder.
Just over 7 seconds down on the second split, so a lot of time to catch up here for Rafaela.
So far 10th place is Franz Anton, who was 6.3 back, so he was a 1:13. So no final today, unfortunately. Provisionally 20th place and shows his disgust, I guess. Poland, followed by Switzerland, Slovakia and Germany. And it's now Lukas Rohan from the Czech Republic.
So the top of this course, you can see just under the water there is actually a big airbag. And the way they control the flow into the course is by letting air out or adding air to that to determine how much is coming over that top drop. But it's a pretty fun start section to the course. It's just current, and then you just go right over it, and it's a nice steep drop down to the first gate, which he's navigated really nicely so far.
You'll see some paddlers come through that section either at the bottom or at the top of the eddy. The swirl in that eddy changes a fair bit. You have to read it on the fly, and when you get there, sort of judge where you want to go. So it looks like he's chosen the top.
Nice and tight through that section there. I think the spin option is good for the lefty paddlers. It's always nice when you can keep the paddle on your side, have nice strong strokes rather than trying to do tough offside turns.
Well, I was walking the course with Rafael Smolin, who has designed it today, and he was saying he's hoping that he gives them a lot of challenges from 6 to 13 with all the offsets, and he gives them options as well.
Yeah, and we haven't seen anybody do it all direct quite yet. Maybe some of the kayak men will be opting for that, but I think that'll be a pretty tight option.
He's expecting a couple of the faster ones to take it on, maybe in the final.
It's always nice when the course designer has that in mind and trying to challenge all the paddlers and really reward them for taking those risks.
Again, pushing for a spot lower 9th. No, it's not going to happen either. 18 athletes gone. Still have the asterisk next to Michael Martican, who's provisionally in 3rd place. It's Gregor Hedwig from Cochlin, Michael Martican, Florian Brewer and Blazkov. And what we've seen there, the 2-second penalty for Adam Burgess has come off. So he now moves back into 4th place. So it keeps us active. Who we have now, Roberto Colazingari from Italy.
Really strong paddler, multiple under-23 world champion. Looking smooth through the top of the course. We'll have to see where the first split ends up.
Still in touch, 2 seconds off.
It's a very strange water through this section as well. It's kind of, sometimes it'll help you with that tough offset, and other times it just makes it really hard to turn the boat. Catches your edges. He's navigated it pretty well.
The fact that Monday and Tuesday, so most of you quit Prague on Sunday morning or arrived here Sunday night. And the fact you couldn't actually train on the water Monday and Tuesday, was that frustrating, or you just dealt with it, I guess?
You deal with it. I mean, it's not everyone's in the same boat in that scenario. So, I mean, the local paddlers are always going to have. Ooh, looks like he's hit the bottom there. Local paddlers are always going to have a bit of an advantage in the fact that they've paddled the course more. But I think leading up to the race, you just kind of take it in stride and make the best out of what you have.
Roberto Colazingawi, we saw a 2-second penalty. He needs to be inside 2:10. No, 11th. So seeing so many of the athletes coming down with regrets. We've seen 2 be happy now.
It's a really long course, and it can be so frustrating to piece together those first 15 gates and have it all unravel just in the last 4. So maybe it.
Jürgens Badura representing Norway.
Really aggressive through the top section here. He's moving that boat really quickly. He's sitting pretty high up compared to some of the other paddlers, and that gives him a little bit of extra reach, but it also sometimes makes the boat a little bit less stable. So it's a tricky balance. Like Liam said, he opted for a little bit of a lower line between the 2 dancers behind the rock. Try and follow the fast water.
Well, very much in touch there. Well, there's still an asterisk next to Mikael Martikan, but the 2 seconds has come off, and he now moves into first place with a wonderful 105.83. So first World Cup of the season, 37 years old, just turns up and puts in a staggering time.
Yeah, I think that's something you can expect from him. He's got lots of experience, and just because he wasn't racing the other ones doesn't mean he wasn't back home training. Probably harder than lots of athletes.
Getting a little bit caught up on that down in 15, but bringing it together in 16, keeping it clean. So coming together nicely today.
Ooh. He came in low, and it looks like he's actually hit the wall with his bow.
We have seen the repair people quite busy this week.
Yes.
Well, not bad, but unfortunately it's very grouped there, so he moves into 12th place.
That last upstream is looking very unforgiving today.
Yeah, it's really tough because you can only really get half of your blade in the water there when you're coming in, which makes it really tough to get into the fast water close to the wall.
Third Brit of the day, it's Ryan Wesley. 2 weeks ago, he won the Under-23 European Championships, and last week he took the silver medal in Prague, so on a rich vein of form now. I guess it's since he moved down to Lee Valley, with the big water there, it's helped a lot.
He's paddling really nicely and managing, yeah, like you're saying, the big water at the top of this course very well.
Cutting very tight behind the rock. It's maybe not the fastest water, but it is a very direct line, and that is the trade-off in canoe slalom. Do you follow the water? Do you cut the line? So
Opting to go direct. We haven't seen many of the right-handed paddlers do that there.
Something's working. He's 1.4 up. We're down to the last 10 athletes now.
It's an interesting way to do it, though. He went direct when it was a little tougher for him, and an offside spin, but so far it seems all right.
Well,
2-second penalty on 11.
often we'll see paddlers try to take on a spin move when the water is actually moving through the gate so that your boat keeps moving. Doing a spin in an eddy where it's completely flat can be more time costly. So,
well,
yeah.
there's still plenty of time to play with. At the moment, the 10th is 5 seconds back. All the Aztecs have come off everyone, so Martikan, Hedwig, Coughlin, Burgess are the first four.
Ooh. Interesting line coming from gate 17 to gate 18.
Well, he really needs to be faultless and fast in the last 20 meters.
Pushing really hard.
5th place, as they say, that might be on the bubble. Still some pretty hot athletes. Crucially, 3 from Slovenia to go.
I think we'll see our first cue for this for the final come up.
Well, he won here a couple of years ago. Sorry, well, he won a couple of weeks ago as well. But he won here a couple of years ago. Benny Savcek from Ljubljana, from Slovenia.
phenomenal paddler, so clean, so consistent, good style. He looks very comfortable at home here.
Top level. He was in 2013. He was third in the World Championships. In the last couple of years, he's been second. He's really attuned himself to top level now.
Yeah, that he has. And it's always nice watching paddlers paddle their home course. And I think right now he's doing a great job coming through the top. It just always looks really smooth.
2.5 seconds up.
Oh, picked up a touch.
Right. Given the second back, but still a half second up.
Oh, it looks like he's got another touch there.
Well, needs to really pull something out, but he's capable. Well,
Really?
this is the biggest noise of the day so far. We're a little bit down, so we're protected from the major crowd, but it's still pretty noisy.
Be interesting to see how this bottom plays out. New course for his home.
Ooh, nicely done coming into gate 17.
There's 5 seconds between first and second. He needs to be inside 110 to put himself with a chance.
That was nice there. Really propelled himself out of gate 18.
Third touch.
Well, he needs.
The touches are certainly costly, and he's had a little hiccup there at the angle at the bottom.
Takes 5th place, 9 athletes to go. So it's now Martik and Hedwig, Coughlin, Burgess, Soshek, and Wesley in the first 6.
He had a quick time, but those touches really add up.
And Mikael Martiken and Gregor Hedwig have now qualified for the final. So 8 to go. Anzi Burgett, another local athlete, won a couple of World Cups in 2013, as you can see on the screen, and been a bit discreet since then.
Really strong paddler. I know this was one that we were watching throughout the week. If you wanted to see the lines, see how to run the boat on this course, this is one of the guys to watch.
Oh, okay. 2. He almost did it. Came in a little bit too high. Didn't have enough room around the pole.
Well, let's see. Will it settle his nerves or destroy his nerves?
He's quite an experienced paddler. My best guess is that he'll be able to stay focused on the bottom.
I think we just got to see him get through a few more gates and he'll be back in his style, back in the groove. Just 0.43 off the mark with a touch, so
very fast. So if you're just tuning in, it's live from Tacen in Slovenia, and these are the last 8 competitors to go in the semi-final. Well, he's given back a bit of time, but there's still space.
He's got the home crowd pushing him down the bottom.
5th place is 3.5 seconds back.
I think it's going to come down to the new section of the course.
Well, they're standing up in front of us.
We're seeing him be very careful there, actually, with 3 strokes to try and not hit the bottom, but taking a touch.
Coming over the line, not going to be enough.
Now, combination of a costly touch in gate 18 as well as spending a little bit of time. He got a tough surge in that eddy and was paddling uphill through the gate.
Well, the 2 seconds has cost him a place in the top 12 at least. Here we go now. Alexander Stavkovsky won 2 World Cups. Last time didn't make the final. He's leading the World Cup standings.
Yeah, he's had a good summer so far. But I think he'll be doing everything he can to stay in that top position.
Well, they just have such strength and depth in Slovakia, don't they? Really must be. Nice to see them. Well, obviously a technical point there.
He looks.
A couple of hiccups, yeah.
Yeah, he's not as smooth as he typically is so far at the top of the course. Maybe it's just, it's always tough the first run. You haven't paddled the big water yet today. You've just done some warm up on the slow current up top, but I think he'll be looking to get into a rhythm.
Like he called it, 3 seconds off.
A lot of his strength comes in these tight offsets. Really good at reaching around, using that long span to pull through and run the boat. So might catch some time here, really quick, right there.
We'll see how he's doing on the split here. He was a bit behind on the previous one.
Yeah, he's struggling.
He is.
2.9, but still possibility of coming in 7th.
Yeah, I think he'll have to nail the bottom section of this course.
Certainly
Stay
capable.
away from the poles. Just quickly done through gate 17.
Well, just missed out last week. 1 in Liceo, 1 in Po. Of course, not the Olympic boat. So close. It's going to be close.
Right on the bubble.
Let's see if he's going to make the top 10.
Oh, 9th position after that run.
Well, trying to calculate. There's still 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 athletes to go. And Slovenian, 2 Frenches, Casey Eichfield from the USA, and Matej Beneš. Nico Betke, who's having a good run in the autumn of his career.
He looked like he was, again, like we've seen some other boats, a little bit too far left coming down the drop, and he's did a nice job saving it through gate 1, but it did push him a bit lower coming into the upstream on the left.
What we see is some real powerful athletes in the last section to go, with Nicolas Pichier also to go.
Yeah, I think that the length of this course and that power and fitness brings out their
So
advantage.
strength is trumping finesse.
You always try and make it as easy on yourself as you can, but when that doesn't go so well, the strength certainly helps.
And these guys have got to get out gear. Well, 4 seconds back. So far, there are 4 athletes qualified. Mikkel Martiken, Gregor Hedwig, Tomek Onklin, and Adam Burgess will be in the final at 12:30, so in 2 hours' time, 2.5 hours' time. Sorry.
He's picked up a touch in gate 10. He hit it with his bow, and luckily for him, he managed to get his head on the correct side of the pole. We've seen a couple different lines through this section. Some paddlers have been opting to go almost around that hole and have a straighter line from 15-16. Others have tried to cut it a little bit tighter, so just an interesting choice there. I don't know which one's quicker, but...
Well, 22 seconds off the pace. So he's not going to trouble the semi-finalists. We're going to have another qualifier. It's going to be Benji Sadzek who's going to go through the final, which is good for the Slovenians.
The home crowd will certainly be pleased with that.
But I think it adds something to everything, really. No, not today, Nico. And next to go, another Slovenian athlete. It's Jure Lenacic. Slight in build, but very strong.
Yeah, he had a great run yesterday in the first run of heats. I think he's a powerful paddler, and he's got a very good handle on this course.
If you do pick the right line, it just throws you out, doesn't it?
It certainly does, and it's really you're rewarded for the right line and hurt without it, because the water does push a lot from the left to the right. So if you're late, you're really fighting the water getting to gate 2, and if you're early, you're kind of right there. So
well, this is looking good so far.
Yeah, really smooth style. Not dissimilar from Benjamin Sadzek. Maybe training partners, who knows?
And half a second up, crucially. Last 5 athletes to go.
Spin there. I don't know that was, I think it looked like he wanted to go direct, but I think just the way the boat was, it's a split-second decision. And sometimes you have to go from where you are and change the plan up a little bit. Crowd's nice and noisy, helping him out on the bottom of the course.
Unfortunate touch on the bow there coming into the upright.
Whereas with that penalty, it's going to be 4 seconds off the pace. That would put him in 7th or 8th place.
Really strong performances from the Slovenians on the bottom new section.
Yeah, he's done those 2 upstreams pretty well. Push into the finish, but
Not going to be enough, unfortunately.
no.
I have to settle for one Slovenian. Andy Vizic just walked past us with a resigned look on his face. Who's next to go? Pierre-Antoine Tia, who's leading in the C2, won 2 victories this year. Busy chap.
Really strong paddler. I was watching one of his heats run yesterday. It was really well done, and he had one point in the course, he put in a feather and nearly doubled his boat speed, so technically he's on point.
So far, 2 Brits through to the final. Ryan Wesley has disqualified. 3 places up for grabs.
Another member of the kayak MPY group.
So he's going to have a busy couple of days. Wow.
He's controlling the boat nicely. He's looking really smooth through this course so far.
And that's reflecting the fact that he's the fastest down so far. 27th athlete down, 1.4 seconds ahead of the rest.
Phenomenal spin, direct spin. It's 2 spins, but he's made it look really fast through there.
It certainly is a very tight section of the course.
.99 off on the split, so a really strong run.
Spun up a little bit on the entry to the upstream. Lost a bit of speed that way, but I think he's made it up coming in 18. That was very quick in and out.
Well, the crowd very quiet because at the moment is Blazekov sitting in 8th place. It's a direct threat, and it looks like he's going to be very close to the edge.
He had a bit of a hiccup just at the bottom there.
10th. He's not happy about something.
I don't think he's agreeing with the bottom section of the course. It looked like he got a little turned around and maybe hit a rock as he was coming through just above gate 20.
Well, compatriot Nicolas Péchier from France. Another top photographer. So you got a lot of photographers today.
Such an exciting sport and such dynamic photos you can take, so it's not surprising to have a lot of people taking up that.
And Alexander Slaskowski is just blocking my view in front of it. He's in 9th position at the moment, so watching very, very carefully with 3 athletes to go.
Actually, he's a very powerful paddler. Very strong. So he'll be one of the guys who, if the boat is offline, will use that to his advantage and try and get it back where it needs to be.
I believe he's in contention for the overall World Cup title, so we've got a couple people on the bubble in the lead, Alexander Slavkovsky, and then a couple looking to get in. So,
well, Nicolas 2nd place, so direct competitor. He's Slavkovsky's leading by 19 points, but 120 for the victory. So there's plenty of margin. If you're in the top 5, you have a really good chance.
I think they're giving it to him clean. I'm not sure. He might have picked up a touch on the up left there.
Previously, we've seen a lot of switching from Nicolas Péchier as an athlete, but it looks like he's keeping it all on his right side today, utilizing the offside stroke.
Although he's 2.5 seconds back on the last split. I think he's just had a few tough spots on the course where the boat's slowed down and it's really cost him some time.
7 athletes qualified. Florian Björk goes through for Germany.
Such a strong athlete. I think we'll see a strong sprint at the finish.
Pierre-Antoine Thiard was 110.17. Oh, he's been stuck.
It looks like he might have hit that same rock as his countryman.
Well, that's just put him out of the final.
Oh.
He's having troubles.
That's not the finish you're looking for.
Again, not happy.
The French will not be pleased with this new addition to the course.
No, it looked like there's a big curl on the bottom left that pulls you, and it looks like it pulled him right to a rock.
Anyway, Blazekov has come through for Slovenia. So Slovenia have 2 athletes in the final now. It's a case of Slaskowski is 9th, Thiard is 10th, and Casey Eichfield on the course. 3 times at the Olympics now.
One of my favorite paddlers, really strong.
Very aggressive. He attacks every gate on the course.
And lives for the sport for the last 20 odd years.
Yeah, it's a big part of Casey's life. But he always has fun out there, so.
Really strong work ethic. Really valuable training partner. Based out of Charlotte, North Carolina. Bringing it together clean so far and pulling the boat, so we'll see how in touch he is in the second split.
Not always the smoothest looking paddler, but I think that quick stroke and a lot of power behind it still gets him going very quickly. He's up on the split there.
He was a finalist in the 2014 World Cup and probably hoping to repeat that.
But it's just in the last year, he seems to have gained in confidence, whereas before he was hoping, now he's expecting.
Absolutely, that's a big transition for slalom paddlers. It's a sport with so many factors involved. A lot of it is just believing that you can be on that podium and following through with it.
It's looking like a pretty good run here for Casey.
Let's hope the bottom is smoother.
Yeah, he's got through gate 20 all right.
Well, he's going to be putting himself in the top 4.
There, he's taken first.
Casey Eichfield qualifies in 1st place. That does mean that now Pierre-Antoine Tia does not qualify. Alexander Stavkovsky, who's just standing in front of us, is quite nervous because it's going to be a Slovaki in 10th place.
I don't think anyone wants to sit in 10th when Benesh is coming down the course.
No. And no asterisks by the side of any of the athletes' names. So 9 out of 10 qualified, Olympic silver medalists, Prague champion.
Some pretty adverse water coming through that first section, but he just barreled through it, so anyone can face some adversity and pull it together smoothly on the course. It's this guy.
He's relaxed off the course, has his little young boys running around, well, one of them running around. See where he's going to be on the split. Well, 1.2. He's allowed to play with 4.5 seconds to still qualify. If he qualifies, Alex Stavkovsky doesn't, so that'll be interesting for the overall standings. Stavkovsky's leading at the moment.
Very tight on that pole.
Yeah, tough to see him.
Done it all right, though.
One of the athletes you just expect to come through.
Yeah, he's certainly the top tier of the sport. Oh, looks like
well, 2.4. He can't have any more penalties.
Being a little bit careful coming into this upstream, making sure he's high. He's just a little bit low. Comes up.
I guess he'll be conscious that if he just holds on, he'll qualify. It won't be the fastest, but he just has to be in the top 10. Normally, he cruises over the last few meters. He won't be doing that today.
No. You saw him taking a little more time on the exit of 17, but I think that trade-off
really knows how to work it there, and he's going to go through. Just shows experience.
Lots of room for improvement maybe for the final. We've got a 5-second spread from 1st to 10th, so.
Mathieu Benes goes into 6th place. I can't see any asterisks, so it's we won't call it officially yet, but if it does stand, you'll be able to see with the graphics coming up in a minute which 10 athletes go through. And there you go. Casey Eichfield is the fastest, Mardikan, Herdwick, Coughlin, Burgess, Benesh, Savchet, Wesley, Brewer and Kopp. So local knowledge, dynamic youngsters, massively experienced legends. This is, I guess, what you want in the course.
Yeah, there's a healthy mix, I think.
That's what I was trying to say, but it took about 20 seconds.
It's going to be really interesting for the overall World Cup standings. I think we've got Ante Burcic, Nicolas Pescier, Alexander Stavkovsky, and Pierre-Antoine Tiller all out of the final, and all were in strong contention.
So Alan Burgess is topping it now with Thomas Coughlin and Mate Benesh. They're the 3 athletes going through. Well, that was fun.
Yeah, I think that was a pretty good semi-final. We saw definitely some poor luck at the bottom. I don't think the French athletes will be very pleased. Both of them had pretty good runs up until the last little stretch. And we saw a few struggles on the big first drop.
Well, they let their sentiments certainly show at the end, which is good luck they weren't facing the camera for them. And it's the C1 Women now. So 20 athletes going reverse order of the times they had in the first 2 heats. The first 15 yesterday went straight through from heat 1 of 5, had to battle it out with the others. But we're going to see some, again, often is the case in the C1 Women, it's the same 4 or 5 names that are really a little bit ahead of the rest of the group at the moment.
We saw a particularly impressive move yesterday with Nuria Gira-Rubla doing a switch over the top drop actually before the first upstream, so I have to see if anyone replicates that. And
it's Nina Bijak. I remember watching her a few years ago. When she was really, really young. She's 21 years now, 21 years old, and from Slovenia. So it's a good chance to get the heart moving in the first few seconds. Well, she needs to go back round.
Through gate 1, but she had a lot of angle to the right. And like we were saying before, you have to have angle to the left, matching up with the right side of the hydraulic there if you want to get over to the upstream.
She's actually kept the boat moving really well. If you were to just force it onto the left side, it's easy to come really low into that eddy, so I think she's actually brought this together. I was speaking with her just before the heat started yesterday. She actually broke her boat just on that bottom section, and she's not very excited to have to do the repair, but it looks like she's gotten it done and made her way into the semi-final.
If you're going to break your boat, you may as well do it on your local course.
Well, there's professionals here to repair it for you as well. Nice. Well done. Direct there.
So how much would if you had to pay full price, how much would a top canoe cost?
It's between 1,800 or 2,400 euros, kind of in that range for a top tier one.
And do you have one boat or do you have a couple?
I personally have one, but certainly some of the paddlers will have a fleet.
Okay. Well, so far, clean. Interesting to see what sort of time they have. Must have seen most of this bay, and as you stress, it's a new section from gate number 17. It's a bit tied up under the bridge.
Smooth, flat boat so far. I think actually this could be a time to gauge off of. Oh no.
Oh, she's flipped. She's coming up again.
Oh, that's really unfortunate.
Because that puts you in a bad angle to go back up for 18.
She managed to catch that eddy actually, which is great. So she'll miss 17, but she did a good job rolling there, and I think she timed it quite well, because if she'd waited much longer, it was going to get really shallow. So glad to see that she made it down there all right.
So it becomes a disappointment to relief almost in a couple of hundredths of a second. She hurt the wrist. Maybe banged it on the bottom, banged it on the stain, but there's pain there.
Yeah, it's definitely a shallow section and not an ideal place to be upside down.
Simona Glitova from Slovakia, 17 years old.
Coming out of Liptovsky Mikuláš, I think you can expect a strong C1 coming out of that course with Slavkovsky and Martican being local.
Ooh. Needs to go back round. I think we saw this frequently in the Heast yesterday. A lot of the athletes had challenges.
Looks like she's actually just moved forward past gate 1. I'm not sure if it is possible to paddle back up and get the gate. I think if you don't nail the drop, then that may be.
I think it's a little bit too high. You're right. Yeah.
Well, we don't know what the other athletes are going to do. Certainly having a 50-second penalty early on doesn't help.
No, you can't win in the first couple of gates, but it looks like you may be able to put yourself out of the finals coming down that drop.
Certainly good sportsmanship to finish the whole run and power through, do your best with the lines, and there's a certain difficulty level on these World Cups for how they arrange the gates, and regardless of if you've missed that first gate, then take the advantage and the experience and finish the course, see how the lines go, and use every step for feedback to be stronger for the next one. So we're seeing that today.
Well, I've been on the commentary for pretty much every single World Cup the last 5 years. It's very, very rare to see someone give up, in fact. So most of you do play the game, get the experience.
Yeah, exactly. At this level, it's no one wants to be.
Well, you represent your
country. Out of it,
country.
exactly. So you either way, you try and do your best and fight through it, regardless of what happens on the way down.
And we've had some memorable clawbacks. So Robin Jeffrey from Australia, if you're listening, I know in the 2013 Worlds, he spent about 10 minutes clawing himself up the ropes in Prague, but still made it. Well, the crowd having a little bit of a rest. They're going every 3 minutes. I think we might have to risk moving away quite soon. So the course originally built in 1939, updated and put in a concrete bottom in 1990. 3 World Championships have happened here, and an awful lot of World Cups. It's a top international course with, as we mentioned, the unique feature at the bottom and something interesting at the top rather, and something interesting developed at the bottom.
Yeah, it's definitely very unique course. Nothing really like it out there, and I think that really makes it a fun spot to paddle and race.
I think it's my first time here, but I think definitely one of my favorite courses.
I've just been informed by my producer that we're going to have a race interruption. There's a technical challenge at the bottom of the course, and so there's going to be a race interruption, as you see on your screen. What that means is that there's people are going to get their hammers out or something, and we just have to wait.
It's not terribly unusual in a slalom race. There's so many factors that go into making sure there's a even, fair playing field. You can have a fluctuation in water level, but you can have a...
Well, here that's quite relevant, isn't it? Because a couple of years ago, it was a case of the K1 women, and they came round and they came down, and Violetta Olympitas thought she'd won a gold, and then they had to all run them again because the water level had significantly changed.
Can't imagine.
Yeah.
Other reasons could be compromising in the course. We've had a pole move or a wire move.
Spence, I've got a job for you. Can you nip out and see if you can have a look and see what's going on, please?
I will certainly do that. I'll see what I can find out and report back.
Spencer Pomeroy from Canada is our on-course delegate. We're actually just next to the finishing line. So I've just been speaking to Jean-Michel Ponot from he's the chief official, and he's telling me it's impossible, and it's to do that, and they have to have the finish line further high up. So will that... Well, it really put the cat among the pigeons, as we say. Luckily, only two of the athletes have gone, and I guess that's why they decided to do that now.
Yeah, I'm not sure. That might have been a result of the
Frenchies are not happy.
The French paddlers, maybe, or our first C1 women having a bit of an issue down there, and maybe they felt that it was a little bit too dangerous.
Well, she wrapped her hand,
shallow.
didn't she?
Yeah. So.
One thing to note is that we've had the whole C1 Men category go down with the same conditions, so I don't think we're going to see any restarting from that category, but just the C1 Women is likely.
Well, we're in a good position. The producers will keep us updated. Maybe you want to share some other images of the earlier competitions, or if you're listening at home, we have no idea whether it's a 2 second stop or a few minutes step. But I'm just speaking to Jean-Michel Pruneau, who's the chief official who came to talk to us in the box here. It looks like this. He's not happy, and so the priority number one is to keep it safe.
Yeah, certainly athlete safety is the number one priority out there, especially for the race officials. So I think they'll be doing everything that they can, kind of assessing it, seeing what needs to be done to allow this race to finish and keep everybody nice and safe.
So Liam, you've had a good year on the World Cup Series. What are your expectations before, and what have you come out of it? So Liam Smedley, C1 paddler from Canada. Talk to us for 5 minutes. It's yours.
Coming into this World Cup circuit, the World Cup 4 and 5, I was looking for maybe a couple semifinals and to build experience, get on these courses. I had previously trained on Prague, but not on Tacen, so it takes a few World Cups to really get in that groove of coming down confident, ready to lay down a clean, fast run. So I was looking to build on that. I didn't quite have the results I've had, but when you're happy with the end of your run, then usually the result will come, and I wasn't quite happy with technically my performances this season so far, so a few things to work on over the winter. Got a long few hard months in Canada to go back and work on things, and we're working with my coach Anthony Cullen to do everything I can to be in the semifinals next year, and I think I'm confident to be able to achieve that.
Would you feel guilty by knocking your brother off the Olympic spot for 2020?
I think 4 years from now it's going to be more fun and more competitive. We're going to have me, Spencer, and Cam all pushing for that for the Olympic qualification. It's going to not only push Cam forward if he were to reclaim it, but we could have one of us contest for it. So, yeah, looking for it.
Watch this space. Well, I have heard from my producer that things are changing. The concrete blocks, which were put in at the early stage of the week, have had falling apart. The technical expression. What they're going to do is the C1 men's results stay, but they're going to go onto the C1 women is that 2 athletes down have to go again. I don't know if you can show us images of gate number 16, the cameras, or perhaps it's not the case. But Jean-Michel Pruneau, just in front of us at the moment, he is discussing where they're going to put the finish line. And it looks like they're going to put it just next to the gate number 16, sorry. So just after the bridge, there's Florian there from Cividata, who's the timing, Jean-Michel Pruneau, who is the chief official, and it's maybe going to take a few minutes while they move and Andre there from the Slovenia, he's actually also discussing where exactly they're going to put the finish line. So if you're coming to us live and you're expecting to see the ladies racing down, it will happen, but not quite yet. We do have the experts there. We have the local organisers, we have Cividata, and we have Jean-Michel Pruneau, who's putting forward the committee. Being pragmatic, the concrete boxes they put in, they haven't worked. So unfortunately, it's a bit too early. Need to make a plan B, and that's what they're going to do.
Certainly going to shorten the time of the course. I think especially the K1 men will be very quick if the finish line is there.
It'd be interesting to see how this adjusts people's race plans. You can definitely count on the fact that with a shorter course, every second is going to count more in those tight offsets, so we might see people cutting lines even tighter to really make up the time, and only 16 gates it looks like it may be.
Yeah, absolutely. It's also, this is a tough mental scenario for all of the C1 women who are up sitting in the start gate. A lot of them were ready and prepared for their run, and now they're not necessarily sure what's going on all the time. Sometimes you're sitting up there and just told to wait, don't really know what's happening, so it makes it really tough. You have to be able to stay focused and then prepare yourself. I think they might even need to give them a bit more of a break, allow the girls to get out, take a look at the bottom of the course, see where they're finishing, kind of check out everything. So it might be a bit of a delay here until we get their semifinals back up and running.
Probably a very frustrating situation for the local Nina Bizyak, because hurting her hand on the bottom and then having to take another run without the bottom piece of the course that actually ended up messing up that first run. So
depends how you see it though. If the bottle's half full, she has a chance to it depends what the extent of the injury to the hand is, of course. But if it's just a little wrap, and you guys are quite tough, speaking generically, it gives you a chance to battle again, because you clearly took a 50-second penalty.
Yeah, hopefully she's nothing serious and she's able to push through that and have another solid run. Sometimes when something like that happens, though, it's tough to mentally overcome it, even if it's the physical aspect isn't too bad. It's just kind of a dark reminder as you're coming down the course. Luckily, it's not going to be in it, so hopefully she'll be able to do well.
Well, if you're just tuning in and you see the word race stopped, that has happened, but it hasn't been cancelled. So far, we know the finalists, the 10 finalists from the C1 Men. We only had 2 athletes down of the C1 women, and the decision was made to move the finish line rather, by about 60 meters, by about 18 seconds in my view. It was the last 4 gates, which now will not happen because the concrete box which were put in, you could see there on the chap in the red bending over, he's just actually putting in the equipment for the finish line, because obviously it's electronic timing, and as it goes to the nearest hundredth of a second, you need to, even if it spends a few more minutes, you need to get this correctly. Antonio, ICF TV, doing a wonderful job. He's just helping dismantle the equipment there. We'll do our best to give you the images to let you know exactly what is happening.
difficult to say where the blocks are that have actually moved.
Yeah, if it is in that section in between 19 and 20, and that's what the French athletes.
That's Pierre, that's what he was gesticulating for.
Certainly so. I think that they will be a little bit disappointed if that is what the issue is, and the C1 Men results have stood. So it's also going to be interesting watching the final of the C1 Men, since they did paddle the full course, and now it's going to be finishing earlier.
So we're looking at about, as opposed to 1 minute 5, we're looking maybe less than 90 seconds, and it finishes under the bridge. So we're going to see some real flyers.
Absolutely.
But it is what it is. You just have to go with it.
And I think only 4 upstreams now, if that's the case, in a shorter course. I mean, we see some of the athletes. Is that the rope swing up top?
Yeah.
Killing some time before the runs.
One factor to consider is that we had your full energy gate, so you're going to have that ability to explode, sprint, really push things in through there, so we might see it even go faster than just under 90 seconds.
Exactly, yeah, you don't need to conserve anything for those last gates, so push a little bit harder, and I think maybe we'll see people going maybe some more direct moves in those offsets, gate 7, 8, 9.
Well, you see in the picture there the officials looking to move and set up. It's all to do with setting up a new finish line.
Yeah, they're putting the beam in. We can see just in front of our booth here, just below the bridge in between gate 15 and 16, it looks like. So 15 maybe the last gate.
We can see here on the screen now two French C1 women paddlers, it looks like, analyzing the new finish and what they're going to do to adjust for that.
And the challenge with this is they need to, in setting where the finish line is, I guess if they don't want people paddling down that bottom drop, they need to still allow enough time to catch an eddy and get out of your boat before going down. So
sometimes you're coming over that finish line full bore and completely tired, so
exactly. So
it'll be harder than you think.
But I guess that's the part of the real challenges of putting on a fast running water course.
Yeah, exactly. Whitewater there's always going to be a little unpredictable aspect to the sport, and to rivers, even artificial ones. So it's just something that you have to deal with, whether it's concrete eroding or water levels changing. It's just something that happens in our races. Athletes, some of them are more experienced and will be able to deal with it better than others, but I think everyone will move on and still see a good race for the rest of the day.
Spencer, we've covered Liam, what his seasons were. You came back from a pause, an academic pause.
Yes.
So your brain's fuller, your body's older. How were your expectations? How was your season?
I'm very pleased with the way my season went. I didn't have overly high expectations. I just kind of wanted to get out there, test the waters, see how I stacked up and see what needed to be done. And I'm very pleased I made a semifinal last week in Prague. And I thought my paddling this weekend was all right. I had a few mistakes on my first run that kept me from the semifinal, but certainly trending in an upward direction. So I'm very pleased with the way things are going and looking forward to getting back to Ottawa for the winter and training hard, coming back stronger for the next season.
So is this a get-out clause? You've opted out of a career for another few years?
Essentially, yeah. I've tried the work in life, and it's sitting in an office isn't exactly for me. I think that this lifestyle is much more enjoyable. Getting out there paddling, doing something that I love, and getting to call it a career is certainly very lucky to be able to do that.
When do you actually start thinking about Tokyo?
I think it's...
How many top paddlers are you? The 3 or 4 or 5?
Yeah, in Canada there's Cameron. Cameron has the top spot.
Because you were second this year, weren't you? You were just behind him.
I was behind him. I don't know if just is needed in there. I was certainly behind him, but I think Liam and I are definitely pushing ourselves up there and hoping to be getting closer and closer over the next 4 years. And I would say Tokyo is probably in the back of all of our minds. There's also some good young paddlers coming up. So like Liam said earlier, I think in 4 years' time it'll be an interesting and very competitive race going for that Olympic Games. But I think it's a pretty small sport in Canada, and we'll all remain friends and training partners regardless of the result and how it shakes out.
Putting you on the spot there, I'm not sure you know the answer. How's the Tokyo course developing? What would be the situation there, do you know?
I don't know. I've heard rumor that they're talking about having a flat kind of pool with jets pushing the water around, although I think that's all speculation at the moment. So it'll be interesting to see what they do whenever they build a new course. It's always different, and it's always a fun opportunity to try it out and see what works and what doesn't. So I'm looking forward to it regardless. Hopefully I'll get to go, worst case, just for a training camp there and paddle something new.
And Liam, of course, you went to Rio as a spectator.
Yeah, I was there supporting my brother and working actually for Athletes Can organization in Canada, the national body for all national team athletes. So I was doing some social media there and cheering on my brother, and what an experience to get to see everything live and every mistake, every pivot, every change in time. So it was a phenomenal experience. It's certainly motivating to get to see it live in person and then come home and train for the next one. So
gives you a chance to motivate. I was out there for a couple of weeks. I'm actually going out there tomorrow, so going out for the powers. So it's quite interesting to see how the different scales work there. This is Canoe Sprint. So as you see, if you're just purely tuned in now saying, why haven't the C1 women finished yet? Well, they've barely started, to be honest. The bottom gates that you can see in your picture, there's Nicolas Péchier, who was one of the last 2 athletes down from the C1 Men, and he was gesticulating in a way that only the French can, saying he's not particularly happy with the problems at the bottom. So he might be saying, can I have another go? Which would be a fair argument.
Yeah.
I'm not sure it's going to go. So what actually is physically happening is that the finish line is going to be moved up the course to just next to the bridge between 15 and 16. And I guess there's a reason we're looking at Nicolas Péchier, because he was one of the last 3 semi-finalists to go, and with his colleague Pierre-Antoine Thiard, who was also really unhappy with the actual course. But to be fair, what didn't help in their favour was Matej Benish, who was the last down, didn't have any problems, or didn't express any problems.
Yeah, both him and Casey managed to make it through that section all right, and both with very quick times, so it's not helping their case. But my guess is that since Péchier's still wearing all of his gear, he's on the riverbank, he's hopeful that something might change.
Well, father was an international, brother was the Olympic champion in kayak in 2004. Nicolas, after he hangs up his boots, is going to be a ATP photographer, so he's going to be a sports photographer still, so keeps in the game. Takes a few minutes just to test and to set up. They're still securing it. It's about, there you go, you can see exactly what's happening. This is the river right as we look down. So they're finding a bit of secure rock.
Yeah, and it's tricky. You need to find a spot where the water is flat enough and not splashing up, that you can have the beam close to it, but you want it to be at a level where the paddler's body will break it, not their boat.
But they must have thought about, had a contingency plan, because they knew exactly what they were doing. Because Monday and Tuesday there was no water going down the course because the concrete hadn't dried.
Exactly. Yeah.
So you'd think they should have a contingency plan. So even some of the C1 women athletes are walking down and have a quick check.
Mm-hmm.
It certainly makes the course a lot easier physically.
Yeah, that earlier point, I think, like Liam was saying before, it's a little bit shorter, but I think it also allows you to pull that much harder on the top half. So my guess is the athletes will still be pretty tired by the time they get to the finish line, and maybe we'll see some quicker times for the top splits.
So let's go back, if you are just tuning in, and we had 55 athletes start yesterday. 30 made it through to the semi-finals of the C1 Men, and then we had the finals. This was the lineup for the C1 Men final. If I could come in on here, just trying to press a few buttons. They're very close together, so it's also quite difficult to press the right one. Scheduled. Well, that's interesting because we don't actually have the C1 final list of men scheduled, which might mean that someone's chatting to try and have a chance to do something again.
I wouldn't be too
also, I have
surprised.
unofficial on the top of the qualifications for the semi-final of the men.
I believe how this will work is that there's actually a committee, and not only one person has to make the decision for whether or not they rerun an entire category, but that goes to an officials committee so that they can have a discussion, have a few different points of view, and then make a decision as a group. And that.
Yeah, because there's certainly a case to be made that I think if there's shifts in the concrete, the French paddlers will be arguing that and saying that conditions have changed throughout. So there's, yeah, like you say, Liam, I think there's definitely room for a discussion, and that committee will come down with a decision, but it'll be a little while, I think, until we find out their final result.
To give some insight on the athletes right now, there's some adversity they're facing, whereas some athletes take their warm-ups and work them pretty meticulously. So we've got some people who have done a double warm-up or 3 warm-ups and really prepped themselves entirely.
Yeah, what I'm going to do is, Liam, can you just step aside for 2 seconds, please? So we're coming to you live here at race side at Tacen. There's been a stop in the proceedings. I've just grabbed one of the many athletes who happened to be the fastest down in the semi-finals. So Casey Eichfield, hello, thank you for coming in. How do you see the situation?
Well, I think it's a really unfortunate thing. It was a little sad for us in the beginning of the race. We missed a couple days of training because they were trying to make alterations to the bottom, just trying to make it more usable, I think, for future races. Unfortunately, there seems to be some complications. From what I hear, a piece of concrete is basically separating and slowly moving away from the riverside, so it's making that bottom drop a bit dangerous. My understanding is, from what I can see, they're moving the start or the finish line rather about 4 gates up. So we will be finishing maybe just after 15-20 seconds earlier than we would have been initially. So it's going to make for an interesting race. I was really fortunate coming through that I didn't have any complications myself going through that last drop. I know one of the C1 women got hurt, so that's really unfortunate. I hope that she's doing all right.
And by definition, you're the fastest, so something must be going right. You good sensations?
Yeah, good sensations. Just finding the water. There were a couple weird moves that I felt maybe I was a little underturned on, and I had to force things to happen. But you know, feelings honestly don't matter when you're out on the course. Sometimes a run feels great, and it's not very fast, and then vice versa. So just you know, I try to make the best of whatever I've got when I'm out on the water.
And put you on the spot. What are your tactics going to be?
I'm literally going to try to do the exact same thing. Maybe push a little bit harder because the race is just slightly shorter now, so I don't need to have as much energy to complete as long of a course. So I'll try to push maybe in a couple other of those flatter areas to gain a little bit of time and try and increase that lead.
So clearly the timings go back a bit now. Do you keep yourself hydrated, or do you have something to eat, or have a massage? Or?
Absolutely. I try to stay hydrated. That's the big thing for me. If I get dehydrated, then my body's going to shut down and it's not going to perform as well as I want. And then snacks, yeah, for sure. Keep my caloric intake up. It's hard for me on race days to eat, so I nibble away at like fruit and granola bars and stuff.
Casey Eichfield, USA, top the semi-finals. Thanks so much for coming in. We'll leave you now to prepare. As always, thanks for really explaining exactly what's going on, and hope you put in the run of your life in a few minutes' time.
I certainly hope so as well. Thanks so much for having me.
Good luck,
Thank
Casey.
you.
It looks as though they've actually removed gate 15 as well, so unless they're just shifting that around, my best guess is that they'll be finishing the gate 14 is the last gate on the course, and then a bit of a sprint to that finish line, which will actually change the likely change the area where the paddlers are going. Whereas before they were going through the hole or to the left, now they'll be exiting tight and just sprinting straight through the finish line in that fast water, and hopefully then stopping above the drop and hopping out of their boats.
Well, I've got a little bit more news. What's going to happen is the K1 Men that was scheduled to start at 10:54 is going to start at 10:54. So the women are going to be running at a time yet to be decided. So in 24 minutes, the K1 Men, and that's the semi-final race, will take place. The reason for this, if you've just tuned in, is some concrete blocks came loose towards the bottom of the course. One of the athletes had haven't a clue how much, but had a hand in the bottom gates. A decision was straight away made to stop the course. Only 2 athletes of the C1 women had gone down, so there's 18 to go. That has to be run again at another time. Hopefully in a few minutes' time. The C1 Men I have as unofficial, so we'll have to see if that stands. If there's going to be any appealing procedure, what happens now. But the latest in about 20 minutes' time is that the K1 Men will actually start.
And I think it's going to be a quick race for the K1 Men now. It's certainly interesting, a 4 upstream semi-final final, but you know, athletes are used to this type of adversity, and everyone's going to make the best out of this, and I think we're still up for quite a good race this afternoon.
I think it's one of the most exciting parts of canoe slalom is the river changes, the water level changes, so many factors, and you get for some really unique racing experiences, and this is going to be one of them. The final of the World Cup circuit in 2016 is going to be one to remember.
As Casey said when we were just speaking with him, they the first couple days of training were canceled this week as they were working on the bottom. From my understanding, it's been in the works for a little while that they wanted to change the way that the course flowed back into the river, and there were some holdups, so they didn't end up doing it until quite close to this race. And as we're seeing today, there's still some issues with it, but my guess is once the race is over, they'll have the machinery back in here and they'll continue tinkering with the bottom. I think over the years, this course has turned into something pretty unique and very fun to paddle, and my guess is that they'll be working a lot on the bottom, trying to do the same thing. So I'm looking forward to coming back in the coming years and seeing what they've done. Hopefully there will be a solution, and this won't be an issue in the future, but it'll be a great section with a lot of different features and fun courses set up for future races.
So unfortunate, but these things happen.
Absolutely, yeah. It's water is always unpredictable and a force to be reckoned with. So I think the race organizers have done a great job working quickly and finding a solution.
Well, the fact that in slalom it's always a case of managing facts coming from all sorts of different directions, it just adds another spanner into the works, doesn't it, really? So, latest news we have is that racing is going to start in about 20 minutes' time, and it's going to be the K1 Men. I've just been sending a message by Facebook to my guests to stop eating their sandwiches and come and join us, because we're trying to just keep specialists going here today. So it looks like in front of us, I guess they're going to be testing the timing mechanism. So they are only going to be 14 gates. Last 6 gates have been removed. That will take probably about 20 seconds off the timing, as we saw before, or maybe more, because athletes will be really going full out.
Absolutely. Although the bottom section, well, a couple of tough upstreams, we're not going to see the loss of any really tough offset gates. I think still 7, 8, 9, 10 is going to be a tricky section for the kayaks and for all the categories coming down.
That's where they can make different decisions, so they don't always, talking through the course, coming over the lip, you have a choice or not really? You need to get the exact line.
I think coming over for the very top of the course, there's a couple different ways to get to the same sort of line. Either way, you need to be on the right-hand side of it and using the right part of the feature at the bottom to push yourself to the upstream on the left. And
then moving forward, Lim, memorizing the course, only 14 gates. Remember, what other challenges do we have?
I think that some hard offsets, and there's a little bit more freedom through the middle section. We've got a lot of different swirls through the eddies, and it's really unique, this course. It's concrete. It's not the rapid blocks you see on many other newer courses. So just reading the water as you go is going to be part of the challenge. And I think we'll see some of the Slovenians with this bottom section taken off. Benjamin Savsek, if this results go through official, he'll be very at home on those 14 gates.
I have another little announcement to make. It's as we said a few minutes ago, racing will start at 10:54, which is 21 minutes time. We're going to just be showing you some beautiful, aesthetically pleasing slow motion shots for the next 19 minutes. So we're going to go and collect some information, and we'll be back for the K1 Men in about 20 minutes time. Apologies on behalf of Mother Nature and everyone else, but the organisers are really doing their best to give you an exciting programme. K1 Men is going to resume. K1 Women, the time is yet to be decided. That will be certainly put in as soon as the race organisers can. But we've seen the C1 Men go down. I still have unofficial, so that worries me a little bit. We'll have to keep you updated on there. And now it's going to be the case of the K1 Men. Thanks for tuning in. My guests will be around a little bit later. Liam Smedley, sponsor Spencer Pomai, thank you so much for coming in. Now we're going to have a little bit of a break, and just please watch this space. And we're back, coming to you live from Tacen in Slovenia. Timing is spot on for the K1 Men semi-final. We're going to see the top 40 athletes going down a reduced course. Why is it reduced? Well, unfortunately, there were some physical challenges. Some new concrete blocks have been fixed in earlier in the week at the bottom of the course, and they've come unloose. There was a danger of injury. The course was stopped about an hour ago after two of the C1 women had gone down. Their semi-final is going to take place a little bit later. I'll give you the exact timings if you want to watch in. But the organisers decided to keep the timings for the K1 Men. So we are going to watch these. We've already seen the C1 Men going down earlier. I'll keep you updated on exactly what's going to happen there. But with race time, we are World Cup finals. We're live, absolutely stunning weather here in Slovenia, and we're going to have a lot of fun in the next few minutes. I do have two guests who are making waves in the under 23 sections coming through in the last couple of years. Sam Curtis from Ireland, Jordi Cadena from Spain. Hello and welcome.
Hello. Thanks for having me in.
It's always a pleasure. What we're going to do, guys, is just talk them through the course. It is first to go Matis Husha from Slovakia. Tell us what you see.
So Matis is coming out of Slovakia. He's paddling alongside Jakub Brieger, really promising under 23, so he's going to be having to step up to keep level with him. He's done a good move. He's gotten close to the wall. He's gotten a good kick off the diagonal and into the first upstream, in and out really quick. Now coming into another back of the stopper move, he's lent on his paddle there and lost an upstream edge, but he's rescued it really well and he's in and out of that too. Now here running down close to the rock, he's going to want to get a good jet across, stay in the flow. Tacen, you want to really stay in the flow because you can lose a lot of time very quickly paddling through slack water. And he's done a good job of that as well.
This is a more tricky combination in the course, but he's doing the spin on the second gate, so we will see it's fast enough.
Is that something he decides before, or does he just see the split-second decision?
That'll be talked through with his coach. He'll have a plan A, but Tacen, because the water changes so much, you have to be very reactive in the moment.
And here we go. If you've been tuning in before, you'll expect to see another 20 seconds of activity. No, the finish line is just now.
So he's done a pretty quick run time. Looking at the C1 Men, it may not be competitive for a final, but putting down an early marker is always a good thing to do for everyone coming down before they have a target to hit instead of looking at their process.
I think there will be a lot of clean runs, so the touches will be really costly.
And just on the left there where you're seeing, it's not part of the course anymore. Here we go. It is Antoine Lone representing Portugal, second to go of 40.
Antoine again did a direct there, very aggressive move that he's done. In and out of that upstream as well. He's going to want to really put the hammer down in this section now on a short course. I think you're going to see a lot of people paddling much harder because they've got duck off the gate there, would have lost a bit of time. We'll see what he does now.
Just 14 gates now, so there's 8 seconds at the beginning when you're going on the lake. You then come over a very aggressive lip, and it's another 55 seconds of activity. We'll get us into first, but there's Jean-Michel Poineau, who is the chap with all the decisions to make. Let's see if he's made the right one. It seems like it. Matthias Vega from Austria next to go.
Matthias had a good race recently in the under-23 Europeans in Salken, made the final there. Took an unfortunate touch there, which may be costly in this short course. But I'd say he'll be looking to follow up that good race with maybe a final here. We'll see how he goes. He'll have to be very aggressive now, taking a touch on this short course.
He's a really aggressive paddler, and I think he will be a little bit slower maybe.
He trains an awful lot with his brother who paddles for Italy. They train a lot together. They're out in Dubai this year. Made a few videos of it. They were really good to look at, but they push each other on a lot. So hopefully it'll pay off for him.
And I guess it's all about sharing. Here we go, let's see where he is on the time. Well, he's moved into third rank. The problem is only 3 athletes gone.
Yeah, very costly touch, as we said it would be.
Now, who's next to go? Marcel Podzny from Hungary.
Oh, took an unfortunate 50-second penalty on the first gate. It's a very tricky move to get up on top of the cushion wave beside the big drop in Tacen. And if you don't get on top, you'll get pushed off, and there's no going back for gate 1.
So effectively 10 seconds into the run, it's all over.
Yeah, it's a real crux move. It can be your whole day can be over there, but he's doing really respect what he's doing. He's finishing out his run. He's being a very good sportsman about it.
Kaze Yaxfield in the semi-final, in the C1 semi-final, he debuted in the rookie combination. So we will see who will be the first K1 to be going during there.
Put you on the spot, boys. What's the time going to be to qualify?
I think it's definitely going to be a sub 70. I think they're going to go we're going to see people go really, really fast, really put the hammer down here, especially for the World Cup final where there's double points up for grabs.
Well, coming through, and well, not such a bad time. He seems confused.
Yeah, I didn't see the gate, but it may have been running close.
Chris Bowers is a junior paddler. I think he's the second World Cup ever, so he can be really happy. He's really happy with to be in the semi-final.
Yeah, he did a really, really aggressive run in his second run in heats to make it through. So he has been doing the kind of aggressive paddling that you will need to be doing on this course to make the final. So we'll see what he does. He's done a spin there, but which may run the boat well through 10 and into 11.
Well, you can see the water levels fluctuating. There's a good 50 centimeters on the rock.
Yeah, it's another thing with Tacen because there's so much water coming down the drop, coming down such a narrow channel, and then it spreads out and it's just hitting rocks left, right and centre, so it goes all over the place. So the Slovenians have a bit of a home advantage. They have a bit of a better idea of where the water surges to.
Well, Chris Vaz goes into second place, half a second off the pace, but again he stumbled a little bit.
It will be a really tight race.
Whereas there's Callum Gilbert from New Zealand. Hello, if you're tuning in late in the evening. Sorry it's a little bit late, but they had missed out rather on the C1 Women semi-final, or on the timing with the men. There's been some technical challenges, which means the bottom 6 gates have been cancelled. The course finishes just on the bridge. That's why we're having such short times.
Callum's had a great season this year. He's been in a lot of semi-finals, and as well at the start of the year he ran Mike Dawson very close for the Olympic spot. And as well, I think, took the win in the New Zealand Open, or I think the Oceania World Ranking race maybe. So he's had a very good year, so he's probably hoping to close it out well. And
with Luca Janes putting herself in on the papers, I guess on the front page, we're coming second in the Olympics. It's Mike Dawson obviously with this amazing exploit. He's coming in, by the way, for the K1 final. It's interesting to see how things go, but yeah, a bit off the pace there for Callum this time.
He's happy with that run anyways. He's finished off his season with a semi-final, so he's happy there.
Pepe from Brazil. He's really in shape now, really strong this year, making a really brilliant debut in Olympic Games. So we will see what he can do in this.
It's a very, very short sprinty course as well. He won't need any of his marathon endurance to keep going down here, but he's up on the split as well. Oh no, lent on a blade and caught an edge in that difficult stopper.
So what do you think, 2 seconds?
That's cost him probably 2 seconds, and it's cost him the run of the boat, so it's going to be much more difficult to get it back up to speed.
He's having a cracking year this season.
Yeah, really, really good. Finishing, I think, he was in the final of the Olympic Games, which was a great result, 6th. Okay.
And had a lot of fun afterwards.
Yeah, he definitely enjoyed his Olympic Games.
Yeah. Well, here he comes. As you see, it's costly, his error.
Oh, fastest time.
Still up into. I think he did nail a few upstreams there. He looked like he could have done them all day.
Will be a really good reference time.
Isaac Kostum from Sweden. Again, he's been making quite a lot of semi-finals.
As well, yeah, and he made a final in Prague last year as well. Oh, costly touch.
He also was in the Olympic Games, so a really young star.
Yeah, I think he had a surprising route into the games where he didn't expect to qualify, but Martin Hermans ended up not getting his spot, so he ended up getting his qualification spot quite late on.
So that's coming from the Europeans. Then for the Netherlands, he had to have certain criteria, haven't he? And
Yeah, he had to make
unfortunately-
criteria from his national federation that he didn't make, but Orstrom, so the spot went back to Orstrom from the event.
Anyway, you do what you can with it, and his 2-second penalties, like you said before, is going to be costly. And they're finishing just under the bridge.
Ooh.
But he goes into first place.
He's the first paddler we've seen who's been really on some of his upstreams. He was really putting the head in, sweeping gates, trying to really shortcut those lines on the shorter course.
Geordie, tell us all about him.
David Llorente, he's my teammate. He's a really strong paddler from training in La Seu d'Urgell, and he's really going for it. Oh, the touch will be costly, but we will see what he can do. He's really fast.
He dislocated his shoulder out surfing in the sea at the start of this season, so he's come back now from injury and he's doing really well. Won the Spanish Championships, I think, was it, Jordi?
Yes, he won the Spanish Championships by a really tight race, but
And the fact that you don't have anything compatible to this sort of drop off the start in Spain, where do you have the experience to have the start of Tacen? Leseo's not the same sort of course.
no, it's not really the same, but it's a high water, so
Practice. Well, here comes not what he's looking for today.
yeah.
Oh, Boris
Today-
Navu taking another person coming unstuck in that stopper there, leaning on a paddle and dropping his edge, coming in very low, going to be very costly in this short course.
We were doing a survey yesterday of who is the athlete's favourite paddler of all time, and quite a few said Boris Navu from France. He's won the World Championships a couple of years ago, very close to taking the Olympic spot, but unfortunately didn't make it. And he's 2-3, but he's someone who can really take on a course like this.
He really knows. He knows where to put the boat. And he knows when to paddle and when to ease off. And he really puts pressure on those paddles and moves it. And he knows how to paddle under pressure as well. I mean, losing out by 600ths of a second to Sebastian Combeau for the Olympic spot.
But he told me he wasn't as disappointed then as missing out on London.
Okay, I would have thought it would have been the opposite after coming into the qualifications world champion, but
That's why I asked him. Anyway, here he goes, and he's come in 5th, and it's not a good day.
he's clearly angry about that as well.
Fredrik is a Swedish paddler that it was the last qualified in the first run in the heat, so he can go really strong now.
Freddie Walhund from Sweden, so we've just seen 2 Swedish athletes in a row.
Yeah, really good depth coming through from Sweden now. They've got they potentially have another boat in the semi-final as well, Eric Holmer.
Well, if he does an Eskimo turn, we'll see the bottom of his boat, which looks very smart.
Very colourful, all right. Frederick is another paddler coming back from injury. He broke his back during the boat across in Ivrea, and he's again come back from injury, and he's clearly come back strong, making the semi-final.
Just broke his back, as one does. Well, again, he needs to be 72 clean. Is the compatriot Isaac Ostam's time? He's well out of that.
6 seconds out. And this is the thing with Tacen. You can be doing a run that looks all good, but if you're in the slow water, it'll feel fast, but you just won't be moving.
Well,
These scores they have to be really fast on the upstream because there is just 4 upstream, so it will be really hard.
Tim Maxsteiner, German paddler, so he's going to be really fit. He's going to be really pushing down this course, and you can see it already, 1.4 seconds up.
well, the Germans just keep producing. They're a talent-producing machine, aren't they?
They are. They've got one of the best club systems in the world. They've got just coaches, and as well, Augsburg is the theatre champions. Really, the amount of great paddlers coming out of Augsburg, I can't even count high enough to probably count their Olympic medals.
Maybe one of the strongest nations in the Canoe as well.
Tim as well. He's definitely sweeping gates and staying close to poles.
Well, that's 1.83, but looks disappointed. That just shows what sort of standard. Someone else coming down next who can absolutely fly.
Paul Buckman putting a bit too much bow in the stopper though, getting a bit stuffed, but he's won races on Augsburg. He's got medals, he's got finals, so he's really going to be putting a marker down. Another you can say it about any German paddler. They're all very fit.
A couple of years ago, he dropped out of the top 4 in Germany, and I think that affected him quite a lot. It took him some time to come back up again.
Yeah, I think it may have been a bit of a blow to his confidence, but as well, I mean, the motivation you can take from that, though, to make sure that you fight for every second you can get.
Well, so far 12 athletes gone, so 28 to go. We're in the semi-final on a reduced course, reduced by about 70 metres. It finishes under the bridge, as you're going to see now.
I think these paddlers are very aware of how tight the margins are going to be with this shorter course, so they're going to be hard on themselves at the finish line.
Well, he's going to come in initially 4th place.
We can see that the time from Åkström was really fast.
Kazuka Alhaki from Japan next to go.
Another paddler who's no stranger to a semi-final either. I think he made a good semi-final at the 2014 World Championships in America. So he's again, you can see him from the first upstream, really attacking this course, making sure he's sweeping gates, keeping lines short.
And as you can see, he's paying off, 1.73 up.
Again, but catching a bit of an edge through that gate. So he's going to try and get back online now, but you nearly have to be perfect on this run to make sure you make it in the final. But that was Virgin on perfect there, that sweep upstream.
He's really going for it.
So we'll have to take another tight one here. Pretty good there.
Will be tight.
Well, reference point could be crucial. It's only by 500 a second, but he does move into 1st place.
I think a gap like 500 a second is going to be no small matter in this course.
And Felix Oschmann from Austria, becoming younger and younger.
Another junior paddler in the semi-final. He made a really good season, making the final in the European Senior Championships.
And that's one of the other Austrians. They seem to need to juggle school life with paddling life.
Yeah, but I think he's got the balance right anyway, having a great season. Had a really good battle with Mario Leitner for the Olympic spot, just losing out at the last World Cup in Ivrea. But if you're in contention for an Olympic spot when you're still a junior, he's going to have a great career ahead of him.
He's flying in the course.
Good last upstream. This may put him into 1st place. He's pulling hard to finish. Just outside. Here we have another Swedish paddler now, showing that they're really coming through with really good depth in the field. Eric as well had a really good season, made the final at the Under-23 World Championships in Krakow and a semi-final in Prague, so he's going to want to keep that momentum going.
He's improving so fast, and we can see that he's going really
Bit of an unplanned spin there, tried to go for the direct but stalled out a bit and had to do a late spin followed by another spin that may not be what he was looking for, so we'll have to see. He might fight and pull something out like that. Really aggressive turn, trying to find the time. Have to really go for it in the last upstream and try and pull the time back. Just clipping the tail might not give him the exit speed that he wanted, and taking a touch, so it's game over, unfortunately.
Well, it's coming on very fast here, and now it is representing Argentina, Thomas Bessenger, who is out of Pau.
He's a really strong man, training in Pau in France. And we will see what he can do.
So the Spanish and the French, you see each other quite a lot, don't you?
Yeah. We see them training in Pau when we go there, and they come also to Seoul for some races.
And we see there is 1/3 of a second off the pace.
Does a lot of training with the training group in Pau, who are a very, very strong group, so he's used to competing day in, day out and paddling under pressure with that big training group, so he's going to be no stranger to having to put down a good run. Picked up a touch on 12, unfortunately, which will be very costly in the short course, but he's cutting lines. He's really going for it.
Well, we see the first 5 athletes in 1.8 of a second, and that's not going to be enough. So if it wasn't the 2-second penalty, it put him in 3rd. Andre Tanker, now he came 2nd last week by 1/100th of a second, and crucially, he's 2nd in the overall classifications for the World Cup standings, where Tacen, the 5th World Cup of the season, is double points.
Very consistent paddler as well. He's been in finals in Tacen before, so I wouldn't be too surprised to see him in again. And especially he training in Czech Republic, where you have the likes of Yuri Perskovic and Faber Radulek. He's used to competing day in, day out.
And I expect you, Perskovic Senior, today, and he said Junior is going to be watching on TV. So hi if you are.
I'd say he'll probably be hoping if he couldn't win here, hopefully one of his teammates can. So I'd say he'll be cheering Andre on now.
And what do you see early on? So far it's clean, clearly.
Clean, which is going to be a good help. A little bit of kind of stalling on the boat. The boat wasn't running as smoothly as it could have been, which on Tacen can cost time. And you can see it there.
Puts you immediately out of it. Bradley Fords-Cryan from Great Britain, Scotland.
Really hit the ground running in this season, making a final in Ivrea. Very, very fit paddler, can paddle aggressive when he needs to, and as well took a really big win in one of the selection races in Great Britain, which are very competitive races. So he's going to, and you can see it there up on the split, he's going to be attacking this course.
This can be a really good race for him, a really short course. We will see.
Not that he needs inspiration, but with Joe Clark taking the gold recently, it certainly gives you an extra boost, I guess.
Gives you that bit of motivation that you can see. If you see your teammates doing well, you wanna catch up to what they're doing. And similar to the Germans, if you're training with somebody who's that fast, you're going to be doing every little thing you can do to catch up with them.
So far looking good.
Fast on the exit, he's fast sprint as well, might take the lead.
Yeah.
Good run.
Goes into the lead.
So almost halfway, 19 athletes gone, and one fly to another. It's Matej Polacek.
Very surprising for Matej Polacek to lose out in the Olympic spot to Maciej Ogrglak, but I think he'll take motivation from that, and he's going to have a point to prove now at these last few races.
2 years ago, he actually sunk at the bottom.
He did on the old bottom drop they had. There were a few rocks knocking around there, and he got very up close and personal with one of them, and I think he lost that fight.
He's training with Maciej Ogrglak that will be competing later, so we will see.
And he's really cutting lines. He's going tight to these gates.
Where he has World Championship medals, been on the scene many years. Talking about internal competition, if there's 6 top paddlers in your own family.
Yeah, the Polacek dynasty, really, they're a force to be reckoned with.
Only 6 there, it's going to be difficult.
At times you can paddle too close to gates in Tacen.
And Slovenia is represented by Janos Petelin.
A Slovenian paddler that is training in Po in France. He's living there for training.
Yeah, he trains in that training group with Thomas Bersinger, so we should see him being able to compete well here. And any Slovenian on this course is going to be, you're going to want to keep an eye out for them. They know where to put the boat.
And also, crucially, the new section, which we're saying inside knowledge doesn't help, they don't have to tackle that because it is new.
Yeah, so it's all the home advantage really stays with them now, because this is all what this man has probably been paddling since he was barely old enough to walk. He's probably been paddling these boils and these surges, so he's going to know his way around them.
We can see that he really knows the good line for the fastest line.
Yeah, this will be in the first place. That is a big margin for a course this short to take a second out of Bradley.
Well, you're predicting around about 70, and he's come in at 71, so there's still a little bit of space.
Yeah, I think you'll see people go under that, but maybe not too far under it.
Daniel Watkins from Australia.
We see again a very costly touch that early in the course, but if you take a touch that early, he has another 30 seconds to try and take the time back.
He's a really fast paddler that we can see him with the touches in the final, in the last races, so we will see.
Yeah,
3 seconds off in the split.
Under 23 Worlds in Krakow, I think he made the final with 2 touches maybe, so he's fast paddler, and you can see there sweeping gates, keeping lines short, but most importantly sweeping gates and running the boat. Unfortunately, he took a touch on it.
Well, that's enough to knock you out, unfortunately.
I think with 2 touches on a course this short, it's not going to happen.
He went really risky, so that's good.
I think no one's going to apologise for taking a shot on this course, for really going for it.
Another Slovenian paddler from training here in Tacen.
Martin Starotket.
Younger paddlers as well, under 23, and I think the under 23 paddlers are going to have a point to prove here. They're going to try and want to make a name for themselves in the final World Cup, so you're going to see a lot of them go for it.
Peter Couch is the second last to go, so probably in about 18 minutes.
Martin had a really bad injury in his arm at the beginning of this year, so it's good to see him back in the water.
Putting a bit too much weight on the tail there, letting the water act on the tail instead of putting his own force onto it. Stalled out a bit, but he's back on track now.
Well, 10th position moment is 75.
Unfortunate touch on the last upstream.
So it's not going to happen today, unfortunately.
No, but I'd say for a Slovenian paddler to make a semi-final at home would be very good.
Matthew Bizize from France, who stunned everyone with his amazing run in Litoski 2015. He's capable of really putting it together.
On his day, Matthew Bizize was one of the fastest paddlers in the world, and he paddles hard as well. This would be an aggressive course like this will probably suit him.
A really talented paddler training in Pau in France with all the French stars.
Taking a spin there on 10, but we'll hopefully see him attack back after that and really put down something special now. A bit like that. Really aggressive line there. Took a lot of speed out of it. I'm going to have to really attack the last upstream now after that spin higher on the course.
Nice upstream in the last.
Just outside.
He's going to go 4th place and shows his disappointment. Next to go from New Zealand, it's Finn Butcher. He spent 6 weeks training in Prague. He was disappointed with his touches, although his speed was good. He said, let's see how he attacks today. That's not what you want.
Slipped off the paddle in the middle of the stopper, which is going to be tricky to recover from, but he's really going to attack it. Very talented paddler. He had finished second in the heats in Krakow Under 23 World Championship, so he has the pace.
Another New Zealand paddler in the semi-final. That doesn't mean that the level in New Zealand is going really good.
Mike Dawson not competing today, obviously. Hurt his back the other day, so he's hobbling around still.
I'd say Mike had a pretty good season with the making the final at the Olympic Games, so I think he's done enough for this season. He can leave to the younger guys to get the job done. Finn looking forward to training on the new whitewater course that they have built down in New Zealand as well, which will really is going to pay off for the sport in New Zealand and for these young athletes.
Will you have a chance to go down there, you guys?
I would certainly like to. My wallet disagrees with me, but I'm going to try my best to get down there for a bit of paddling.
Sure, it will be one of the best places for training in the winter.
Etienne Dye, slide in 2012, won 3 races in a row.
Etienne Dye was a force to be reckoned with in 2012. He medalled at every single World Cup, and as well took the Olympic spot for France, which is to make the team in France is extremely difficult, and let alone win the Olympic spot.
It's good to see him back on the 18 this season.
Yeah, really good for him, and he's an aggressive paddler. He will go really tight to these gates, so it wouldn't be very surprising to see him in the final.
It's all start and stop, isn't it? There's no chance to really float.
Yeah, Tacen can be a strange animal for that. Sometimes if you get the right water, it'll flow, but if not, you really have to. Tacen will make you work for it.
Well, moved into 6th place, but with 14 athletes to go, you're risking something 1.84 off the pace.
I think he'll be sweating down the bottom now until he knows he's safe.
It's big Alexander Grimm, 2008 Olympic champion, and dropped off the top team for a few years, but has been back for the last 2.
Yeah, I think Tacen is a very big course. People are afraid of Tacen. The only thing Tacen is afraid of is Alexander Grimm.
A really strong paddler training in Augsburg in Germany. From the Canoe Augsburg club. So, really good paddler.
Had a few unfortunate years not making the team after winning the Olympic Games, but he's back now and he's as strong as he ever was, and he's going to really be putting the strokes in, putting the hammer down here.
Well, he's going to have to really fly. I don't think it's what he wanted today.
No, that's going to put him 15th.
Out already.
Here we have the young Polish paddler who took the Olympic spot away from Mateusz Polacek. Very aggressive move there.
So that's how they judge in Poland. If you beat a Polacek, you're pretty damn good. A 50-second penalty they give him. Sorry.
Yeah,
Did you see that?
Yeah, it was very close. He's no stranger to really attacking gates, and he takes a lot of risks. When it pays off, it's fast.
We saw him very fast. He's half a second up. However, it's not. You have to have the whole of your head and part of the boat at the same time.
Yeah, so I think the judges have the best viewpoint from where they are, but again, I think he's taken too many risks on this short course.
Well, we have to see this.
Need to find a balance between going risky but still making sure you're actually in those gates. You don't want to be in the hands of the judges.
Well, I think they're going to be appealing there, because we did see on 7, then it went to 8. If it does or both come off, then he'd go into second place. And it's Tim Anderson from Australia.
He did the final in the World Championships, but disqualified because of his life jacket. So we know that he can be really fast.
That's really bad luck.
As well, Tim paddling in Australia, where he has the likes of Lucien Delfour and Jackson Merritt to compete against. So 2 very good paddlers, and the more good paddlers you have in a country, the more work you have to put in, and the more disciplined you'll be to try and catch up with them. So that'll pay off for him.
So 4 seconds off pace. He's not going to do anything today. Just take a second. Sam, what's the state in Ireland at the moment?
Really good in Ireland. We had a bit of a gap after the likes of Owen Reinish and Ian Wiley, who really put the sport on the map. We had a bit of a gap for years, but there's been a big resurgence with the likes of the Hendricks twins coming through, 2 really talented paddlers. And then we have a big group of juniors being put in place by Owen Reinish. Has a good system in place. And we had our training course redeveloped as well. The sluice, the mighty sluice.
Well, no disrespect, but he was always out of the course. And now another local paddler, Yuri Mechlik, but representing for the last 3 or 4 years Azerbaijan.
Yeah, Yuri Meglik has had a lot of good results here in the past, has definitely made medals here. He's going to know how to go fast paddling for Azerbaijan now, but used to race for Slovenia, so we'll know what to do here.
Well, look at that, 1.5 seconds up. When you see him walking the course, he's walking the course for the Slovenians.
I think he still has a very good relationship with them, so he's going to take advantage of that, to be sure, and make sure he gets all the local knowledge that he has and that they have.
Putting lines in the tricky combination, and now we're really going for it.
Can we see our first sub-70 time? If you just tuned in, the race finishes just under the bridge. They had to eliminate the last 6 gates due to technical problems. Some concrete came loose at the bottom. Here he goes, very close, and moves into second place. Well, there's going to be 10 athletes to go, so it gives him a chance. Samuel Anance, again, you know quite well, Judy.
Samuel is a really talented paddler training in Laseu. He's got a really good inlines in the upstream, but he can be really fast in this course. He designed his boat, Revolt, and his paddle from Phoenix Paddles.
And a fifth of a second up, rather.
Very, very quick. He's made a bronze medal in the Laseu with 2 touches before, so he has the raw speed. We know that's there. He just needs to really put it together. Getting a lucky surge on his way into the upstream and dropping low, but that may just be his advantage gone. He can still put down something.
Oh, it's gone now.
Touch on the penultimate gate, which is going to be very costly. Yeah, I think we won't be seeing him in the final, unfortunately.
But there's going to be a big cheer, as we do have our first qualifier, Janos Petelin, representing Slovenia. So someone's loss is someone else's gain.
Yeah, really good for the Slovenians to have their paddlers in the final. Now we have Darius Popiello, one of the fittest paddlers on the circuit. He's going to be pulling hard. He's going to pull like a dog down this course now. You can see it there. There's never a time there's not a paddle in the water pulling hard. But you can see on Tacen he's pulling hard, but if you don't get the right water on Tacen, it's not always, you can be pulling hard and going nowhere, so unfortunate, but again he's still going for it, he's still attacking these gates.
And the fact there was no training on Monday and Tuesday, I guess they're all fairly fresh to this.
I'd say, yeah, and for the likes of Darius Popiello, he's been around for a long time. He's no stranger to this course, so that won't have affected him too much. He'll still know how to paddle.
But not today, unfortunately. So 2 athletes qualified now. The second to go through is Yuri Mechlik. So we have 2 Slovenian-born athletes in the first and second place with 8 athletes to go.
And a little bit low for Lubo Shilgert's mother, Stepanka Hilgertova, was a legend in the sport in Czech Republic. And I mean, if you've got genetics like that, you can't help but be talented.
And his young child's with him this week, so we're looking forward for even another generation. But he's a little bit back, 2 seconds off the pace.
He is, but I'd say if he has his kid with him, he'll want to impress them. So he might start being flashy.
Matthias Polacek is in 10th place at the moment, 2.63 seconds off the pace.
Ooh.
Really risky upstream, so we will see what the judges say.
Again, even if it's only a touch on a course this short, I don't know if he's going to be able to come back from it.
No, not today. Next to go, it is going to be Martin Albrecht, third of 4 Slovenian paddlers through. And the Brits are having a good day. We did have Ryan Wesley and Adam Burgess qualifying for the final of the C1, and now Bradley Force-Cryans has qualified for the final of the K1.
Yeah, really good day for Great Britain. They're definitely keeping up the momentum from the Olympic Games with Joe Clark winning, and now the Slovenians are going to probably try and get the ball rolling themselves, get a bit of momentum with another paddler into the final.
Well, we saw him half a second up.
He's
Yeah,
really fast.
very consistent paddler. Really knows how to paddle here as well. He's no stranger to making a final either. He's made finals in 2014 in London.
We can see that the Slovenian paddlers are taking a good line. They really know. So not paddling so much, but really fast.
Let's see where he goes, and he moves into first place. There's
Just snaked his way in there by 100th of a second.
well, qualifies, well, it doesn't matter where he qualifies, but he's the fastest so far. Zeno Ivaldi, it's the second Ivaldi we've seen on the water so far today.
Zeno, really good paddler as well. Made a silver medal at the Under-23 World Championships in Krakow, so he's having a good season. Had a bit of bad luck though, leading into his own selection races. He had to get his appendix out, I think, after the first race, so that kind of knocked him off the ball a bit for the next races. But he's back on form now, and he's been quick the last few weeks.
Really consistent paddler, and he's making always a good upstreams. Really
6
fast.
athletes to go.
And he's looking good. He's cutting lines, but most importantly, he's still running the boat. The boat's still got movement on it.
Punt off. First one we've seen really to punt off. But it works, doesn't it?
It certainly works. That's a
Wow.
for a course this short, that's a big margin, especially with over a Slovenian Martin Albrecht.
Made a senior final. And it's who else can Giovanni Di
there we
Gennaro,
go.
who won in Ivrea. Obviously the Olympic boat. Let's see what the Italians can do today.
This is his second course after Italia, so we will see what he can do.
Again, he gains all his power from his mustache, so that'll really keep him going now.
Only slightly back.
Still in contact though, I think, with only 0.7 down. And again, being aggressive, taking that on direct.
Raphael Smolin, who designed the course earlier today, can't know anything about the bottom, but the top section, these offset, he said he'd hoped that some of the faster clients, some of the faster paddlers would go direct. These 2 seconds penalties could be expensive, he's very fast.
He has excellent raw speed, but again, 2 seconds on this course, you can never tell.
Goes into provisional 11th place.
Unfortunately, yeah. That won't see him through.
4 athletes to go, and it is, well, we only have flyers left. It is Sebastian Schubert.
Yeah, Schubert is excellent German K1 paddler. He's won the overall World Cup, I think, in 2011 or 2010. He's definitely no stranger to a podium or a final.
And in Augsburg, he can take the course apart.
Oh, 2014 in Augsburg, he was just on a mission. I've never seen someone pull so hard down the course.
1 second off the pace, but that's okay. So far qualified are 6 athletes. Matthew Biazazu sitting on the bubble, 2.12 back.
We can see the Japanese paddler qualified, so maybe his first final in the World Cup.
That's a first for him anyway, for the final.
And Zeno just giving his father a big hug just below us here. Delighted to qualify.
Oh, I'd say that'll be a big boost for the sport in Japan as well, especially after winning a medal with Takiya Haneda in the Olympics.
Oh, just misses out again. Sebastian Schubert moves into 7th place. Matthew Biazizzo from France has qualified. Vip Windus next to go. Again, another real flyer.
Yeah, trains in the same group as Vavro Radulek, so he's no stranger to competition. He's going to know what to put down here.
And last week he was the 4th Czech boat, coming 4th.
With the absolute Czech domination in Prague coming 1, 2, 3, 4, so if you've got depth like that, he's definitely going to be fast.
I think he's the leader of the World Cup standings, so we will see if he can make the final.
Stuck in the first stopper though, kind of losing a bit of time there, so he'll have to really fly in the bottom half now to make the final. But he's certainly putting in a good bit of work to try and make that happen. Studies in Prague as well as trains, so he's another one who needs to find the balance between his studying and his paddling.
Well, Vip Windus goes into 14. So no checks through yet. And who has now qualified? It's for Sweden, Isak Ostrom. And we can have some noise. It's Peter Cow's silver medal in his 3rd Olympic Games.
Peter Cow's has already taken that first move apart. I mean, Peter Kaiser knows what Tacen likes, and he's going to give it to her.
Well, he said dislocating his shoulder in hindsight was a really good thing. His back hander is 1.03 seconds up.
I'm not in the slightest bit surprised to see him up. He's got a very special relationship with this course. He knows where to put the boat, and he's just, at times he's been untouchable. I mean, that was really special upstream, I think.
He's just flying the course.
I'll call it now, I'll risk it. He's definitely in the final. Yeah, I think this is fast. He's going under 70.
Well done. Cruises over the line in 1.5 seconds. So
didn't even sprint the
2
finish.
seconds up. Peter Kauser qualifies as the fastest athlete. Etienne Dye is in 10th place. And it's Mikael Smolen. His father designed the course especially for him. Let's see how he can go.
He had a great result in Prague, making the final as well, and coming off the back of an Olympic Games, he's going to be charging.
We said he enjoyed the experience, but didn't like the result in the Olympics.
Probably not the result he wanted, but once you make it to Olympic Games, anything after that is really extra. Making to Olympic Games in itself is special.
You see 2 seconds off the pace.
But very, very nice aggressive move through that split, and again, nice direct there.
Crucially though, Etienne Dye was 4 seconds back, so there's quite a big gap. So if he comes in 72.95, he's fine.
He's going fast at the moment, so we will see if he can make the final.
It's looking like he'll be in under 74,
72.
so 72, sorry.
Yeah, qualifies in 3rd position.
Be happy with that.
Well, there you have it. Etienne Dye looks like he's just missed out. And we do have the 12 athletes qualified. Kauser comes in 68.86, slowing up over the line 1.49 seconds above the head. And you can see it for yourself. Ivaldi, Smodel, Albrecht, Pedalin, Medlik, Forsquayen, Zadeki, Biazazo, Ostom. So 4 from Slovenia, 1 from Great Britain. 4 from Slovenia and Azerbaijan, which is Slovenian as well. So half the case is Slovenian.
You can really see the home advantage here. They just understand the surges and the flows that are going on, and they know when to put the hammer down, and they'll do it.
Well, that was fun. We're going to now have the start of the... Well, thanks guys for coming in, and it was a real pleasure for that. Thank you very much. We're going to now move on to the C1 Women that had to be put back from before. The reason they're going now is that there were some technical problems a few minutes ago, and with the technical problems it meant that the concrete blocks were loose at the end of the course. There was half an hour delay when the officials, what they had to decide to do was where to move the start gate, and so the finish gate rather, and so what they did was they put it in just after the bridge. Well, second chance, Nina Wysiak hurt her hand on the first time, and can she get to fight again? Spencer, you're back with us, having collected information.
Yeah, we got a good look at the course, saw what happened. Ooh. That's not the start she was looking for. Looks like she came down the drop a little offline, hit the wall, missed gate 1 and into the hole. So that's probably going to put her out of it. Unfortunately, she's had a rough morning.
It's really hard for these athletes to have that interruption in the race and then refocus, re-warm up. So we're maybe seeing some of that coming into play here.
Yeah, but we did get a chance to go and talk to some athletes, take a look and see what the issue was at the bottom, and it was a large slab of the concrete that started sliding off the wall, it looked like. Lots of change has been going on, but it looks like everything's been done to have a successful rest of the race. We have seen some very quick times in the K1 Men for the new shortened course.
Well, Peter Cowles is absolutely flying down.
Absolutely, yeah.
Well, it's exactly the same course that we've seen this morning. Only 14 gates, the bottom 6 gates, as Spencer just explained, are no longer in action, unfortunately.
Talking to some of the paddlers who just competed on this shortened course, they were saying it doesn't really feel like you've completed the full thing. You get to the finish line, but only with 4 upstreams. It just feels like something's missing, is what I was told. So we'll see if that plays or whatnot, but it seems like everyone was having quick times. So
I guess depending on they qualified or not, they'd say it's a good or bad thing.
exactly. Some
Anyway.
paddlers might like it, others might not.
Nina has had a hard day and she's panting hard. I guess if you have to flip, or you do flip right at the beginning, it's going to be tough to keep it going.
Yeah, you have to fight to get the boat back on track, and all of that takes a lot of energy from you.
Simona Glegdakova from Slovakia has a second chance to put things right.
This top drop is going to be the focus for her, having it go smoothly. Second
Yeah,
chance.
She did miss the gate on the first run, and luckily has a second opportunity here.
She looks like she's pushing hard.
Much
and
better line.
Oh, really nice.
She got a little hung up, kind of hit the stopper. She was almost too well turned for the first gate.
So you actually disappear from the images for the second essay. Do you feel lonely?
No, I think that they're fine there.
You can you see the course when you actually below? Or do you get blinded for a second?
It depends on the line. At some points, you might get a splash in the face and kind of lose track of everything. But at that point, you typically know where the boat is, where you're going, so it's not the end of the world. You just keep the paddle in the water and keep pulling.
Well, a second of 20 athletes to go down the C1 semi-final. So far this morning, we've had the C1 Men. K1 Men just seen a couple of minutes ago. Obviously, you can check the results online.
This C1 athlete looking like she's certainly benefiting from this extra run, making use of it.
Both of those gates are placed in eddies, so the current's actually going back up through the paddlers can try and carry their speed downstream, make it through those gates, and then keep going back out to the fast water. But it's definitely a tough area to keep the boat running.
With such a short course, it's going to be really small margins today, so those touches are going to be brutal.
20 athletes to go. Well, we'll move into first place, but still a lot of escape. And only fractionally faster Nina, who had a 20-second penalty. Now, someone here who'd expect to have a medal and maybe even win. It's Kimberly Woods, who's been struggling a bit this weekend with her runs.
She has. She made the semi-final, but she wasn't up in the top like she likely would have hoped to be. It's a nice short course though, so she'll be able to. She's a very powerful paddler. I think she should be able to put down a quick run as long as she keeps the boat online.
Well done through that first drop. One of the best lines I think we'll see.
One of the athletes, you never know what's going to happen. She might do an absolutely blinding run, or sometimes it all falls apart.
Yeah, exactly. And Tacen's one of those places where it's easy to have one or the other. And it looks like she's off to a great start. She had a nice approach into the upstream on the right.
And something about switching here is the fact that you have to really choose your moments, don't you?
Yeah, absolutely. There's not many patches of water that are super predictable, so that makes switching really difficult. Looks like she caught one of those tricky patches right there. She was trying to turn, it really just grabbed her stern, forced it the wrong way, so she's going to have to loop gate 9 here. That'll cost her a bit of time.
We saw she had 14 seconds in state, and has taken 2 seconds back, and so it's only going to be, and she's being stuck there for a while.
And again, you can see it's right in the middle of the current, but just the way that the water moves there. She wasn't really moving much. She was just kind of stuck in that one spot.
Not a very forgiving section of the course. If you're not on line, you're not on top of your spin, it's going to cost you some time.
Well, it's from a wonderful start. It all had a bit of a dodgy middle section.
Still pretty quick time though. It'll be interesting to see what time the women put down today in the C1 women category.
13 seconds ahead, 3 athletes gone, 17 to go, 10 go through to the final.
Not a bad run, just that one hiccup, 8-9 section.
Certainly won't have any issues identifying where to catch that time in the final if she's lucky enough to be in that top 10.
Lucie Priot from France.
We did see with the C1 Men earlier on this morning that the bottom section of the course that's now been removed was one of the areas where time was definitely lost or made up. We had a good line or a bad line, and now with that taken out of the equation, I think we're going to be seeing a little bit tighter racing. Oh no.
Oh. Just a brutal start there. I think she's going to try and actually get back up for it, which we haven't seen yet.
No, exiting below the gate. I think it's too far up the wall.
But the effort's there and the sportsmanship, she'd like to be in all those gates, so good for her.
Yeah, we've seen that a few times now. That's all the water kind of comes crashing down that big first drop and pushes off the wall. So it's really pushing away from that gate. You need to try and get the boat on top of it so you can come through gate 1 smoothly, which is more difficult than it looks.
Well, for about an hour next to the C1 Men, it was unofficial. It's now official, so the actual standings that we saw after the race are actually going forward to the final. Oh, there's a problem going forward to final.
It is official. They've actually they've added in a few extra paddlers. I believe it's going to be a 15-boat final.
Interesting, interesting. I don't see that on my screen. I have to check that. Well done.
That's talking to one of the athletes. That's what we were told. So we'll have to wait and see what happens.
Wow.
I think maybe to accommodate some of the changes that happened later on.
Right, certainly. So you have to check it out.
Showing a little bit of a struggle through this hard offset section. It's hard to keep that momentum mentally, physically.
Okay, you're well ahead of the game. Yeah, it's Nico Betgay, Yuri Lenacek, Pierre Tantia, Nicolas Peschier, and Alexander Stavkovsky have all made it through to the final. Wow, it's going to be 15. That's going to be
Most notably, it's changed how the World Cup standings are going to finish out. We've got a lot more competitors in there.
Yeah, it's going to be a very tough final, I think.
Well, no disrespect to Lucy, but she was never in touch. And now Kate Eckhard from Australia, who is improving in every outing. She's in the K1 and the C1 semi-final. Very slight build, but mentally very strong.
She's opted to take a nice wide line coming off the top of the dam. Oh, unfortunately, not quite enough.
Goodness.
There you just get a good look at how big and powerful that hole at the bottom of the drop is, and maybe she managed to get back through gate 1 after all.
Maybe. Oh, it looks like a touch, so it is possible.
Good for her.
Wow. Let's see this.
Trying to get far enough over with that wide line, but as we said before, there's a lot of water pushing off, and it's really difficult to get onto the right side, close to the wall.
With Matt noting her mental strength to see if she can just push through and put that behind her, and hope she was in that gate, which seems to indicate she was.
Born into it. Both parents involved. Father Olympian from Tasmania.
I believe also physio on the team.
Yeah.
She did a nice job there. A little lower below the rock, but following the current.
We've seen the first 4 athletes struggle, so there's certainly space. Well, 20 seconds back there. Kim Woods at the moment leading with a 94.48. 2 seconds penalties and lots of regrets.
That was nicely done. She opted for the bogey move, opting for another bogey, going down the gate, and rather than just straight to the next one, using the eddy and going up and around, just making the line a little bit easier so you don't have to fight the current quite as much. Nice way to carry your speed through everything.
And it looks like we're approaching that 94 mark, so it's not going to be quite competitive with Kim Woods, but she can lay down a very fast run, so we'll have to see if Kate is competitive after a few more boats.
There we see tighter exits coming from gate 14 as predicted, now that paddlers don't have to go around.
Well, moves into 3rd place, which is good, but 85 athletes have gone. Laurine Navot from France. We saw them studying the course a few minutes ago. French have such... you can turn out a new different team every week.
Yeah, absolutely. A new team every week, and always a great team. They're a very, very deep paddling country. Lots of strong paddlers. Not an ideal line down the drop there. She's made it through gate 1, but got pushed to the right.
And actually, she's just going to run with that current because at the top there, it's so powerful, so much water going down that you don't want to fight it. You don't want to try and run here.
A little bit high coming into gate 4. She did an alright job staying away from the poles, though. Actually coming in around the top of the gate. Oh, fortunately, looks like she's been given a touch there.
Well, 23 years old, number 46 in the at the moment the world ranking, so it's a great experience at this level. And also, it's a huge crowd, isn't it? Really, it's a lot of people to cheer you on.
Absolutely, it's very noisy out there. They're definitely cheering on the local paddlers, but they're making some noise for everybody else, so it's always helpful. And the way that the new short course works, there's stadium seating all along it, so a lot of people clustered right where the paddlers are racing, so there's going to be a lot of noise the whole way from top to bottom.
But making Kimberly Woods, which we thought was dreadful, looking not so bad.
Yeah, Kimberly had one of the better top sections that we've seen so far. I think that's going to go a long way here. You can go straight down gate 1 and come in nice and high for gate 2. That's going to be really important, especially on this short course. Like Liam was saying, small mistakes are definitely going to be costly.
And it's Nadine Rachnig from Austria, another teenager to go down. 6th in the Junior Worlds.
Really strong performance from her last weekend in Prague. We saw one of the fastest run times. So interesting to see if she can keep up that speed today. Pushing.
Ooh, it looked like she caught an upstream edge early on the drop, and when you do that, the water really grips the boat, and it threw it too far down to the left.
She's going to try and make the same maneuver as Kate Eckhart.
Looks like she's done it all right there.
Lost 6 or 7 seconds, so not a disaster.
Not a disaster, no. Definitely takes a little bit of bravery going back up for gate 1, though. You have to exit almost right into that hole. As you saw, she got a little bit caught. Good for her, pushing all the way up and making the tough move to save it.
I guess the energy you spend doing that must be quite difficult to absorb later in the course.
Exactly, yeah. That's definitely takes it out of your arms. Even on a short course, adding that extra time makes it feel like a longer course than it is.
Knowing the difficulty of Tacen, though, making sure you go back up and get that first gate, that could be the difference today, actually. It's so difficult.
20 athletes in the semi-final. Of course, 10 going to the final.
Going for the spin, and there we see it's a more direct line from 8 to 9, but you have to paddle a lot harder to get over there, and paid the price by running into the pole.
Kimberly Woods was 13 seconds ahead of the second athlete, Jimenez, a 1:07. Oh, that could be expensive again.
Yeah, it looks like she hit that with her paddle, and the gate actually went around the wrong side of her head, so I think she'll be getting a 50 for that.
Yes, so you predicted correctly. Effectively out of, well, looks like it's out of the coast, but there's quite a few, there's 2 50s we've seen so far. This will be the 3rd 50.
Even the shorter version, they still proving to be quite a tough course here today.
And our 3rd Frenchie of the day, Cécile Tixier, who's now been on the scene, international scene, like it's 3rd, 4th year.
So there you see she's gone a little bit closer to the right than some of the other paddlers, trying to carry the speed, and she has managed to get on top of the curl. Correcting that angle, she was aimed a little bit too far to the right, and this, oh no.
Oh.
That's where we get a good example of the water pushing off the rock. It's easy to get back to the eddy on the right, but if you're low, coming into the eddy on the left is very difficult.
How unpredictable the top of the course there can be is really a testimony to making sure you get all the gates. And
Well, we saw her fly past gate number 2. She said didn't waste any time going back for it.
No, at that point, I think it was almost a lost cause. You get a little bit too low there, and there's not much more you can do to save it. So unfortunately, you just have to reset mentally and try and have a good bottom of the course.
Well, as we've seen 3 athletes so far with 50s, I suppose you really have to go for it. Ooh, there's another It's not going to help, is it?
Probably not the run she was looking to go and put out today, but I mean, it's been a pretty challenging morning, I think, for these women.
It's going to be interesting to see how Mallory, Jess, and Nuria take it on. They have been a little level above the others. Are they going to do something special?
Coming in too high to gate 14.
Kimberly Woods looking pretty secure at this point, actually. We have a few more boats to go before any qualifications confirmed. But
next to go is Ellie Gibson. I saw her at breakfast this morning. She was tongue-in-cheek complaining there was no haggis on the plate. See how she goes. Really shot onto the scene with a medal at the 2014 World Cup in London, where she took the silver medalist ahead of Mallory Franklin. As a 16-year-old, but now mature.
just in the first gate, and then with a nice spin move to make sure she gets over for gate 2. And good.
So really a real fight on her hands to control the boat.
Yeah, and that's one of the things you see a lot at Tacen here. If you're offline, you're punished, and you do have to fight to get back on track and to keep everything under control. Looks like she's done that all right, though. Online, and the boat is moving again, so that's always good.
8 athletes gone. Kim Woods leading maybe 94, 2 seconds of penalties, and we saw probably maybe 10 seconds lost there, so there's certainly lots of space. 12 seconds back, which would put you in second place at the moment.
Pretty well done for the double spin option. One more, and that gave her a nice approach into the upstream. She did a nice job exiting that up, going a little wider and carrying her speed through the downstream. Gate 12.
Well, it looks like she's going to move into second place. 9 athletes gone. And 5 seconds ahead of the field. So far, Kim Woods from Great Britain leading from Ellie Gibson from Great Britain as well. And Monica Doria Villarubla representing Andorra, lives in Sale.
And there's a small group of C1 women paddlers coming out of Andorra, being so close to Leseo and having that training opportunity.
Switched right at the top of the drop.
You were mentioning Nura did that the same yesterday.
Yeah, during the drop, actually in the middle of it.
Looked to be not a bad option. She's a little low on gate 2, but she did navigate gate 1 pretty well and got over to the left.
I think a lot of what will decide the placement in the C1 women is by the time you're out of gate 4. Just keep it together.
Time is slipping by. 10th athlete to go and 12 seconds back.
And we see her bow just pop out of that curler, not giving it quite enough.
Yeah, it's a fine line there between being right on it and a little bit too low. And it looks like she was trying to go just on the back of the hole to set herself up nicely for the spin, but she just missed that line a little bit.
Doing a double switch there, maybe not a part of the race plan, but adjusting to what calls on the course.
Yeah, when these paddlers switch, they're going to want to try and time it so that they can maximize the number of strokes that they can get out of it before they have to switch back to the other side. So sometimes that requires a little bit of sacrificing and waiting. Other times it works really well. And sometimes when the speed's just not there, they don't have a choice. They will switch a little bit more often.
Moves into 3rd provisional place, which does mean half of the field have now gone. Alia Kozarog from Slovenia. Let's expect some noise. Another teenager.
She might might have a little bit more experience on this drop than some of her competitors, so looks like she's got a nice start. Oh, not quite.
Mr. Gabe, that's a 50 thing?
That's a tough call. It kind of looked like the pole went right over her head from the angle of the camera. Judges will have a few different looks at it.
Was she hesitating to whether she could go back, or was it just impossible from that position?
No, we've seen 2 athletes go back for the first gate, so it's actually a little, I'm not sure, it's maybe hard to say from if you're up there in the start eddy and you don't know what the others are doing, you haven't seen someone else do it, you may not think you can get that high to get back in gate 1, but we've seen it today, so it is possible.
If it does stay on, it does mean that Kim Woods has qualified, so an early run has plenty of time to watch the others and recuperate a bit. If you are just switching in and saying why on earth it's so late, well, there was about a 45 minutes, hour-long delay when the finish line was moved from after gate 20, unfortunately, just under the bridge after gate 14, so it cut about a third of the course off.
Nice job there. Key to that turn, which is exactly what she did, kept the boat nice and flat. When the water gets pretty funky like it is in that section, that always helps. The less edge you have in, the less chance of it getting caught and pulled the wrong way.
Local Slovenian crowd helping her down. Last bit of this run, last gate.
So there might be an appeal coming for the 50. Well, provisionally moves into 8th place, even with the 51. 2, 3, 4 athletes had 50s, and 1 athlete, Cecilia Tixier, has 100. And it's Sona Stanovska from Slovakia.
Young paddler pushed herself in the parallel slalom earlier this week. She was paddling really well there. And translate over into the slalom course.
Another one who's missed the angle.
And I think we saw with, she did manage to go back through gate 1. It looked to me as she was coming over the top of the drop. She just tried to change her angle maybe a little bit too late, so she was spinning and pointed in the right direction, but not actually carrying the speed. And that's going to be a big difference maker. Using the hydraulic coming in.
Looking pretty determined and convicted coming down now. Not being bothered by that small loop for gate 1 and pushing through.
That's a bad luck there. Again, the trouble with those gates being on the in the eddies is when you're trying to turn, the current's pushing the boat the wrong way. So sometimes you can get the stern up there and think you have it, and it actually grabs you and swings you back the opposite direction, which looks like kind of happened to her.
Passing Kim Wood's time now. 2 gates to go.
Which means that Ellie Gibson will qualify as well for Great Britain. And there's still Jazz Royal and Mallory Franklin.
Yeah, lots of good boats still to come.
Well, slight dissatisfaction there. Next to go, he's been on the circuit many, many years. It's Clay Jacquet from France.
Definitely takes a toll when you come down, and if the first gate doesn't go according to plan, it makes it pretty difficult to keep mentally focused. Whenever you get a good start, definitely goes a pretty long way in having a great run.
And we've seen Claire start at the top of the drop further right than some of the other athletes. So the trade-off there is you have a good placement on the right rather than generating speed from left to right. It seems to have worked out well for her.
Well, made all 4 finals so far this year.
Off to a really nice start at the top of this course.
First medal 2012.
Really calm in the boat. It's really important to have in Tacen. Keep it flat.
Yeah, she's flying through this section here.
So with all the chaos, you just have to keep a clear head, making 100 calculations a second.
Oh, and there, I think she's done a great job of that. She nailed it, put the bow just on the top of that curl, but not in it. So it actually started spinning the boat and did a lot of the work for her in that spin gate.
Wow, and a direct through 9. I don't think we've seen that yet, so really well done. High into 11. think this
Interesting to see the split, but
Yeah.
I think she's definitely on pace for a quick run here. 2 more gates.
teammates probably cheering loudly on the sideline.
Beautiful, beautiful gate course.
Sub 90, it looks like.
Well done. First convincing run of the day so far. Claire Jacquet. She's done probably 25, 30 World Cups, only podiumed once. So it could be looking good. And Vicky Wolfhard from Austria, very accomplished in K1 and C1, has a game face on.
Strong contender in both categories for a number of years.
You notice a lot of the paddlers coming to the start with their bows pointed over to the left. It's because the river actually washes through that wall on the right into the side channel, so the current's kind of coming across. So depending on which side you paddle on, it can be an advantage or a bit of a disadvantage. It also depends how you like to approach the drop, but it looks like she's done a nice job. Opting to use the hole in between gate 3 and 4.
It's a fodder, but
4 semi-finals, 2 finals, which came 6th and 4th.
Oh, nicely done, going direct there. So the way she's done this, she's stayed on the left, went direct, spin, and direct, and I think that was really well done through that section. Not having to waste any time switching, keeping the boat running.
wait for the second split. I think we're going to be just off. Yep. 1 gate to go.
Well, this could be enough to put her in the final.
She had a bit of trouble at the top getting stuck in the hole, but other than that, I think it was a pretty solid run. Definitely a little bit of room for improvement, but I think it should be enough to get her through.
Definitely qualified so far in 3rd place. So 4 athletes through. Claire Jacquet, Kim Woods, Vicky Wolfhard and Ellie Gibson are through. Annabelle van der Kniff for Spain. So Spanish putting through a lot of athletes as well.
Yeah, in the past we've seen a lot of French and a lot of Great Britain, C1 women, and it looks like Spain, those 3 nations have got maybe some of the best depth of field. Oh. Just riding that last curl in the drop, pushing her left of gate 1 and into the hole, but she's going to go back up, and I think she's got it now. Gonna switch and high into gate 2, so I think she can bring this run together. Bit of a boil, touch, and she's going to be low into 4 here.
Just catching the bottom of the eddy. She's actually been given a 50 on gate 3. Maybe she just went outside of the gate. It's a tough patch of water there. It's shifty and boily, so sometimes it just kind of grabs the boat and moves it over to the side unexpectedly. A little bit too much edge, like you were saying, Liam. Sometimes it'll catch you and keep you in the hole, and that's exactly what's happened there. So she cost her a few seconds at the top.
Really hard section. If you don't have your ferry angle really pointed upstream there, then you're going to get pushed down by that hydraulic.
Picking up another touch as well. Coming down the last couple gates of the course, just above the bridge. Unfortunately, it's not going to be enough today.
Performance. It'd be interesting to see if our last 5 paddlers can challenge that 87.
Definitely some good paddlers still to go, so I think there might still be some quick times to come. That might be a tight call. It looks like
it's a close
from
one.
this angle, she's almost right under the pole.
Looks like she's confident to maybe have gotten in there, and she's going to keep going.
Well, sensational time. She's almost a technical fault there. half of the athletes, 5 athletes now are confirmed. So France, Great Britain, Austria, Great Britain, and Andorra are qualified for the final.
Clean so far and pushing hard, so yeah, good run coming together. Just 9 seconds off, which
That's okay with his qualified in on the bubble at the moment. Is you can be 26 seconds back and still qualify. So it shows there's quite a big range. This is the World Cup final. This is the semi-final Tacen, the last World Cup of the season.
All clean so far.
yeah, I think if she can run smooth through these last 2 gates, we're going to see a competitive time for the top 4.
Well, certainly going to qualify. As you mentioned, predicted, what have you? So Teresa Fizurova for the Czech Republic moves into 4th place and qualifies. Katerina Hoskova, I talked to her just before leaving Prague, and she said no, she's not turning up this week. She's had a lot of effort. It's Jasmine Royal for the UK, debuted in 2012.
Could even see 4 in the final today.
That's a nice line through the top.
Training day in, day out at Lee Valley, you're not scared by the... I'm not suggesting anyone's scared, but it doesn't phase you, I guess.
Yeah, when you're used to big water, it helps on a course like this, because sitting in the start gate, all you see is just kind of the horizon line. So being confident on that definitely helps.
Driving the boat, keeping it tracking, looking good so far.
4 athletes to go. So far we have 6 athletes qualified. But next to go is Mallory Franklin, Jess Fox and Nuva Villarubla. 8 seconds off the pace, which is good.
Really nice spin there. You see a switch and another spin. Probably direct and then into the up left, yeah.
She did a nice job using that backstroke to push herself around the gate, stay nice and tight to the pole.
So they must be aware that there's plenty of time to play with.
Yeah, I would imagine they've heard the crowd. They may have a little bit of insight from the top, but it's been pretty well online for the most part in this run. And again, a second clean paddler in a row. So.
And moves into 3rd rank. So France, Great Britain, Austria, Czech, Great Britain. Next to go, Great Britain. Mallory Franklin, very tall, very angular, and very successful as well.
Yeah, very accomplished paddler, really strong. So I think she'll be.
Here we go, over the drop.
You may notice the paddler's not taking huge strokes on the drop. It is a little bit shallow as well, so it makes it difficult to get the full blade.
She was always going to make that. There's no doubt about it.
Really well done for those first 4 gates.
Well, so far, total mastery of the course.
Really tracking that left pole, making sure she avoids the second touch. Looks like she's picked one up on gate 8. Two gates to go. With a touch and 8 seconds out, so certainly a competitive time, and should be looking to cut down on that final run.
Qualifies in 4th position, and Jess Fox, who did the double here a couple of years ago. She won the C1 by 15 seconds or something outrageous.
Yeah, I don't think she has a lot of fear or anything coming over the drop. She looks very comfortable when she's paddling on this course.
to watch.
You can really see her attacking the right side.
Wow.
That's how to do it, isn't it?
That's exactly how to do it. One of the best ones we've seen is
The back of the hole there, like we were talking about, playing with her edge as well.
So Jess Fox putting in a lot of travel. Clearly everyone knows she picked up a medal in Rio, then went back to Australia. Originally said she wasn't planning on doing the last two, but said, well, I have the enthusiasm and it's not the end of the season, it's the start of a new 4-year cycle for her. With the prospect of C1 and K1 in the next Olympics, it's plenty to keep her busy.
a little hiccup in the down just before the upstream, but I don't think it's going to cost her a whole lot. She has had a fairly solid run so far.
She's one that can make a huge difference between the semi-final and the final.
Yeah, I think she managed to find a second gear to shift into for the final.
Coming below and comfortably cruises into the final. So, busy weekend in store. Well, we do have 9 now of the qualified. Nieuwe Villa putting herself in the zone. And so far there is Claire Jacquet, Jess Fox, Kimberly Woods, Yasmin Royal, Mallory Franklin, Victoria Wolfhart, Teresa Fedorova, Ellie Gibson and Monica Doria Villaruble who've qualified. Last athlete to go. Very exciting to watch.
That'll be interesting once more. Staying on the right.
Yeah, another nice move through gate 1-2. I think she was probably the farthest right that we've seen a lot of the athletes.
That's what you have to do, push all the way to the wall and guarantee that.
Oh, and she's just gone down gate 4 the wrong way, so that will be a 50.
Wow, so unfortunate.
Right, well that, can she still qualify? 20 seconds, you'd have to make up 30 seconds, so it's not going to happen, is it?
No, I don't think so.
Well, that shows the character of Jess Fox. She looked disappointed when she saw that one of her main rivals is not going to make it.
It's what the world level of sport is all about, trying to have your biggest rivals, the fastest boats all in the final, so you get a really good race. So.
Well, that's a general disappointment.
Yeah, with the exception of gate 4, she's actually had a pretty good run. A little hiccup there, but
Without the 50 we're seeing, she would have been still very competitive. So.
that's the one issue. Taking that high line through the hole between gate 3 and 4, it does bring you in a little bit high for that gate. So
Well,
you really need to reach and pull yourself down.
Still a great champion, but unfortunately, pays cash for that. Well, I guess we're going to keep on schedule. The next
There's a lot of top names in there, a lot of guys in the running for the title this year.
Here we are, the list in front of us. I mentioned 2 minutes ago, Simona Glekova from Slovakia is the only unknown quantity who joins 4 Brits and different nations in the final. Kate Eckhard just missing out this time.
Seeing Andorra in the final, also a small surprise, but strong paddler. Well, I think a full testament to the difficulty of Tacen whitewater course, and
Yeah, we saw some nice runs, and we also saw some costly mistakes, especially at the top. Coming down the drop, gate 1 definitely proved difficult for some of the women today.
you certainly see that confidence build. You fly through gate 1, up through gate 2, 3, across the whole of 4, and you're just flying all the way down the course. So if it doesn't go your way, then the rest of the course is going to be a hard-fought battle.
So we're going to have a few minutes pause. Let's find out exactly when it's going to go.